Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 577th episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I am the dry fast Trust now. I'm joined by...
I'm the delayed Kirkland Patzer.
I'm in Mark Dilmas.
There you go. And we will be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the field in a little bit.
He
said
should have
10
been the
minutes.
delayed. I should have given him my name.
You should have, yeah. He said 10 minutes. I gave him 8. You know, we tried our best here, but he'll
Wizard
join.
is never late.
What the fuck am I talking about? GeekVerse. There's always lots of stuff dropping around. Speaking of the man, I guess I usually throw to Taylor Field, but this will be a bit quicker of a newscast because we got some doubles to record tonight. Because next week for First Impressions, myself and Dylan, we're going to be jumping into it tomorrow night. But SideQuest next week, you and me get to talk about our first few days with Starfield. That's going to be exciting.
Hell yeah!
That's
Can't
a good
wait.
time. Yeah,
2015 was the last, Bethesda game like that. So, damn, it's been a long time. That was like the start of the podcast. Here we are.
First
crazy,
year.
crazy stuff.
That was only 3 months into the podcasting gig at that point because we started in August. So yeah, we were babies.
This will be the
then.
final year of the podcast.
Yeah, the final year. We don't want to get to 10. That's not cool and stuff. We ended with Bethesda. We started Bethesda. Ended. No, I think I can't remember if I maybe Super Mario Maker. I can't remember. That came out probably first before Fallout 4, right? I think I'm trying to think what was our first game review because Fallout might have been it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm getting better and better remembering dates and all this gaming info that my brain has. Mario Maker release date, not something I've committed to memory. It could not tell
It was a
you.
Wii U release, wasn't it?
It was
sure
a review.
was.
Yeah. I remember too. That was like in the two ways of like reviews being like so meh back in the day when me and Dylan went over for like a night and played like a couple missions of Assassin's Creed, and then we joined Taylor for review. Same thing with Mario Maker, and then if you go back to the Fallout 4 review, Taylor was sitting there the entire time and had not played Fallout 4 at all, and he just sat there kind of listening to us, and he gave like a mini 5-minute review because I think it was labeled Fallout and Call of Duty whatever review.
Oh my god.
And he just gave like a mini review of that, and it was just like, he's like, I don't think I need to be here for that. So we learned that, hey, not everyone has to be here for these, but yeah, the good old
How
days.
things have changed.
Yeah, no one's sitting around on a review for the game they haven't played.
We had so much free time back in the day.
That's
What else
it.
was he
That's
doing?
really it. Like to think about like all the times through like other casts where I'm like, oh yeah, like I didn't need to be on that, but here I was, But here we are talking about that. So Starfield will be next week for SideQuest. That'll be lots of fun. Me and Dill may do something for the Nintendo Direct this week, depending how juicy it is. So stay tuned to the feeds. That's why you subscribe on all the channels, the video, the audio, everything you need to know is down below. When we drop something like today, you can get the newscast a little bit earlier because we're just recording things a little earlier. You get originals that recorded last week. Bread and Butter is going to be recording tonight, so exclusive for the patrons. And speaking of the patrons, head over there now. At the phase 2 tier and up, you can start submitting because soon our mass record day is coming up and we'll be recording our Halloween retrospective for October. Some juicy picks in there already. This one is like the most interaction we've had in quite a while for a poll. So I'm really interested to see how the votes shake down and everything. So to submit them, phase 2 and up, to vote, you got to be phase 4. The only way it trickles down the rest if there's a tie. But yeah, there's a lot of picks right now, so go vote. I'm very excited. Those are always fun things to do.
To be clear, it is not Halloween movies. It is October horror, that sort of thing. It's not just strictly the Halloween franchise.
And I thank the patrons a lot because they read our posts, because I say specifically don't give us any franchises, because I always say we're probably going to do those in the future. It'd be a waste of a pick. Like throw something in there, no franchises, not sequels, and all of them are like remakes or just like one movies and done. So thank you all patrons for being the smartest fans out there. So we appreciate it.
And so smart. I don't know like anything that has been picked so far. I'm like, what are these movies? You guys are so much more knowledgeable than me, but
Deep cuts.
I need to catch up and see these. I'll probably watch most of them, even if they don't get voted for, just to see what the fans are interested in.
Even House of Wax with Paris Hilton. Never heard of that one. So that was a big deal.
Okay, now that you mentioned that in Paris Hilton, now it's coming back to me. But I mean, I've never seen the movie. I just remember. I just feel like that's a blockbuster. You'd see that and be like, wow, what is this situation?
Yeah. So yeah, check out that. Get episodes ad-free, early, and exclusive. At some point, we'll do another after 9 September. I don't know if we locked a date down, but we will figure that out. And yeah, side quests every week. There's usually newscasts every week. Obviously, there's a little slower news nowadays, so once a time we might skip them. Ahsoka every week for the next 6 weeks now. Me and Taylor, go check out that. We are still, because we forgot to pimp it on last night, we are still on Thrawn Watch, 2023 Thrawn Watch. He didn't come last night. He didn't come for episode 1 or 2, so we're waiting for Thrawn to come. Maybe he's gonna
blue
come.
balls on that, isn't it?
Yeah, big chiss balls on that one. That's the name of the race. Yeah, so we're maybe episode 4 he will come. Maybe Kirkland will come in episode 4, but we don't know.
I might beat him. We'll see.
You might be. Yeah, Kirkland might come to Ahsoka before Thrawn comes to Ahsoka. So look out, Thrawn Watch 2023. Yeah, there it is, right there. Thrawn's still coming. So let's get into this. So we got some. It's not the headline, but I can't wait to get the trailers. We got some juicy trailers. We're going to talk about Marvels, talk about some She-Hulk rumors, and talk about some minor draft updates. Really, just with the box office and the video game ones, because the MCU and the what is the other draft? Superhero draft have not changed much. Obviously, strike that's going on and everything. So let's get this first one, the Marvel. So a few things that trick out this week, but more and more it looks like that the runtime of the Marvels, which and we'll also talk about too, because we're going to talk about Dune being delayed a few times tonight, considering this topic and the draft, unfortunately for Kirkland Patzer. But so what we've not talked about is Dune. Warner Bros. They did a bunch of shifts. As of right now, Aquaman still holding its date. It's actually on record to be the shortest gap between the movie releasing and no trailer being released ever for the DCU, because there's still no Aquaman 2 trailer, so it's officially the shortest gap ever. And yeah, that movie's coming out in December. We've not even got like a 30-second teaser for it, so I don't know what to say about that. But that's holding. Wonka's holding all that stuff, but Dune got moved, so now if you have IMAX, it looks like the Marvel's going to keep all those screens. It's going to do all that. Makes a clear way, so that got going on. So maybe there's some info now. It's starting to trickle out. Probably sounds like that date's being solidified. So Dune 2 pushed till March next year. We'll see if that holds. All depends on the strike. And right now, the rumored runtime with credits for the Marvels is 1 hour and 37, making it the shortest Marvel movie of all time. Now, obviously we all have our opinions here, but I want to start because the patrons can send in questions at any tier. So make sure you go over there. But I'm going to start with Michael Justino. Hope I say your name right, Michael. Superbad Mike. He says, "Hey, GV crew, in relation to the Marvels being the shortest movie yet for the MCU, it has me worried about the quality, since superhero movies under 2 hours tend to be some of the worst. In contrast, some of the longer ones like Endgame, Zack Snyder's Justice League, The Batman usually are the best. Do you guys think it's possible to make a good superhero movie under 2 hours these days? And in general, what do you think is the golden runtime for a blockbuster?" So say the blockbuster. We'll do that one next. But so obviously that's the big thing, right? That's the big debate, because you get people go, "Oh my God, it's under 2 hours." And they go, "Well, a movie just needs its runtime, whatever it is, 1:37. Really, I'd say 1.5 hours with credits. That's that's a short movie. That's an in and out experience.
Yeah, MCU have like long credit sequence too, because they have a million animators they're shouting out. They're throwing scenes in there, all sorts of stuff. Usually that adds a good chunk to an MCU project.
Yeah, and it's tough because we've gone stuff like Guardians, which is 2.5 hours, and Black Panther, which at one point I think like that was like 2:40. But then we've also heard like minor tier rumors, scuttlebutt, that Thor: Love and Thunder, Doctor Strange, and Ant-Man Quantumania had like this kind of edict to kind of keep it at 2 hours. So I guess that's where I am too. Is if Nia DaCosta and crew made it and they said, "Hey, 1:30, that's the best cut," then I'm happy. If it's a Marvel thing of keep it to this length, we want to have more showings of it because the past box offices haven't. But I don't know. Guardians was 2.5 and it did very well, almost as well as the second one. So Kirkland, I'll start with you as far as, does it get you any concern for the Marvels, and what do you think is like the golden runtime for a superhero movie, or is there one?
Yeah, that's a spicy question, but I'll start with the shortest. That's pretty interesting to me, just because I feel like there's a lot of moving parts going on in this movie, but at the same time, I feel like I've seen a lot of, specifically comedies lately that have been in that like 1.5 hour range, and it's a great time. Like it just breezes by, and it doesn't feel like it's going on too long, trying to tell too much of something. And I feel like for the Marvels, with how many moving pieces there are with the 3 big like characters involved with it, not even including Nick Fury, it does seem strange, but for some reason I'm just a little bit optimistic on it. I feel like it'll actually work pretty well, and hopefully there's the big mass world-ending threat that I'm always feared about and recently in these MCU movies
and in real life too. The big fear yours every day.
Absolutely,
You're a guy, it's this massive world-wide threat.
Yeah, I'm always terrified of that. Something about the 1 hour 37-minute mark for this movie makes me think that maybe we won't go that route, but who knows? They could be trying to do too much in too short of a time frame, and it'll end up just falling all over the ground, which I hope isn't the case, because I really want another really, really great MCU movie, because I really, really loved the first Captain Marvel, and I like all the characters that are involved in this movie, so I'm really hoping that they do have a set plan, and they thought an hour 30 is perfect to tell this story. Now, to tell the golden time frame for a blockbuster, I don't think that there is like a perfect golden time frame for it, but for some reason in my mind I just think it's like a 2 hour mark, maybe not too much further than that, although I have seen some really great long movies, specifically blockbuster ones, so that's what makes me think that there isn't a golden time frame, a golden hour mark for a movie to be that perfect blockbuster. But I don't know. I think if I would love to see like the stats on just all the blockbusters that I've seen and just rated them in that sense, and like find out what that perfect runtime is. But I think it would be 2 hours if I had to just say a number.
Now, Dylan, I saw you plugging away. Did you search up any lists, or?
I was just looking up what like the shortest MCU movies are, because I didn't have that information off the top of my head. So some of those, like The Incredible Hulk and Thor: Dark World, are both 1 hour 52 minutes, which are
one of those are fantastic.
Conveniently, like bottom 3 MCU movies for me. So I don't know, maybe that's a bad sign. But then we have the first Doctor Strange at 1 hour 55. We have the first Thor at 1 hour 55. We have first Ant-Man at 1 hour
Great
57.
movie.
So it seems like that pocket, like that 4 or 5 minute range, is where a ton of these movies fit. And the fact that this is like knock 15
half an
or
hour
so
left,
yeah, like knock a good amount of time off of that is, I don't know if concern is the right word, but it's notable for sure. It's definitely worth. I mean, obviously we're doing it as a topic here because that is worth bringing up. That is a significantly different amount of time. So I'm curious if that does stick, what that would be. My first thought is maybe like, is this movie, are they trying to market it more as like a kids movie, and kids movies tend to be in that shorter pocket as far as I know, so maybe that's a thing, but I don't know if that's really the vibe necessarily I'm getting from the trailers. Not that it seems like a very mature movie by any means, but it seems like just kind of standard MCU in that way, and those are kind of targeted to all audiences, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. Is it something too that, okay, this is somewhat of a sequel, and we're bringing in these 3 characters primarily that we have already been introduced to in the past, so we don't have to do some rigmarole of introducing you to characters, and we have potentially like a bit of a cliffhangery moment at the end of Miss Marvel. Like if we could just jump right into the action of this,
True.
and we skip some of that stuff, like, almost every MCU movie has like a 10-15 minute sequence at the beginning that is like some action set piece. What if we just like rip that 15 minutes
all
out,
killer, no filler?
we get right into the action. And it's like, well, there you've shaved 15 minutes off. We can get right into the action. So I don't know. You still have to edit it and make that feel coherent and not rushed. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see if they if this really sticks to this and what the reason is. And I don't know. I just feel like we're going to be on the review, be like, oh, we need another 15 minutes. But then how many MCU movies have we said, okay, they could have cut this, could have cut this, could have been 20 minutes shorter? Usually those ones maybe are the ones that are around the 2.5 hour mark off the top of my head. But yeah, I'd really have to go down and like go movie by movie and think about the runtime of each one to really make that comparison. But to Mike's point of almost all, he's saying that like short comic book movies are generally bad. That's an interesting statement, and I'd be curious to go fact check that beyond like MCU stuff and just see like, is that really the case? And I know longer ones like Endgame, like that makes sense, but then also like Batman's a good example there. Well, yes, that is a longer movie, and it's not necessarily a big team up one where you would assume that we need more runtime just because you have a million characters running around. So that's an interesting thing to think about. I just feel like some of that stuff maybe ends up being coincidence rather than like because it's short it's bad, or because it's long it's good. Because there's a lot of people hate Eternals, and that's what, like 400 hours long, right?
Something
No,
about
no.
that.
I think it's only 2.5 still. You know, you're still,
Still.
in that ballpark. But
I love that
See,
movie,
yeah, and that's where it comes down. Like, what is the perfect runtime? There isn't one. It's all like, what does the story progress? Because I think something like the Batman and the slow pace it needed, you needed that runtime. Where something like Incredible Hulk, I love that movie, but I don't know if I see another hour on that. You know, I think that's a perfect length, and that's our Superbad, Mike. Like, it's an interesting point, but at the same point, like when I was starting to do some research, like okay, something like Ant-Man and the Wasp, the very first one, that was under 2 hours. I like that. It's nothing great, but for what put it in perspective to me is like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is under 2 hours. You know, that's one. Birds of Prey, which to me is the best DC movie, that's under 2 hours. The first Deadpool is only like it's an hour 8, so it's like an hour and a half and like 40 minutes pretty much rounding up, right? And then like even the first X-Men, so that's why I think there's and the first X-Men, yeah, that's almost just like that's 104 minutes. That's like just like an hour 40 again. So that's where it all and like those 4 movies, there's not much I would change about them. I'm sure there's little things, especially with the original X-Men, but I think it just depends on what's in there. And I suppose that's interesting because we had covered that last year. I said from what I saw, people are saying that they think it's a musical segment or a musical planet segment that has been cut, that's very interesting to see, especially because that was the joke that Marvel's going to beat DC to the musical because Joker 2 is coming out. But I guess maybe it's a sequence that maybe that's the thing you do with test screenings, right? If that's a true thing, you do it, and maybe people just went, "Hey, this part of the movie is awful, man." Like I don't have any case because if it's done well, then it's great, and that's why I actually think like with Gaga, like I think when I look at Joker 2, I go, "Oh, you know what? I think they can handle that pretty well." Well, with this, I love Nina DaCosta, but I don't think she's done anything musical wise. You can bring in a bunch of people, and that could be something where again you play it for fun. It's the same reason as I agreed with it big time. I haven't seen the scene, but Greta Gerwig, she was talking about with Barbie, there was this whole like it was like a fart opera scene or something, and she said she liked the scene a lot. She tested it, and all test screens they just hated it, so they cut it out. And for me, when I saw what she described, I love Greta Gerwig, but I was like, you know what, I think that was a smart cut because I don't know if that movie needed a fart opera. I need to see the deleted scene, but that's why even if at the time maybe you're right, you're like, oh, this is really fun, we go to this musical planet, but then once you get in the film you kind of go, is this needed? Is this just a segment? And if it's not needed to the story, then it has to be like really well done or really funny. So if it test screens poorly that way too, then it's like, okay, it doesn't serve the story and people don't like it. Axe it. And that's a big chunk. If they go like pretty much a whole planet and they just kind of cut it or reshot around it, that is a big chunk. But we're
you have to wonder how that affects the story. But that's also a double-edged sword for me because when that news came out or we heard some rumblings that was going to be a sequence in the movie, that was very exciting for me because that sounds very different and special and just weird, and I'm into weird stuff. And so obviously if it's bad, then I don't want it in the movie, even if personally I do want to see it still, and hopefully it can be somehow on like a steel box, like a deleted scene thing, and you can see what they were trying there, and maybe we can see at that point, oh yeah, it didn't actually work the best. But also that seems like something that would have a lot of CGI, so maybe they just never finished it and we never see it at all. But yeah, so that would be too bad. But you also have to wonder, okay, how relevant was that to the overall plot then? If it's something that can be chopped out with, I don't know, how long ago would they do a test screening for this? Like, did they have time to
probably months ago now
do some reshoots and add some new scenes in that make it all make sense? Like, I'm curious to see what the movie looks like if there's this big chunk cut out of it that was planned. I know this always happens, especially in MCU stuff, but yeah, that's potentially concerning there.
Yeah, because I can't remember. I think it obviously had like a lot earlier date too, so it could have been closer to ready to go at a different time before strikes and everything. Yeah, so that's the thing where probably they had an idea to have it more ready, and who knows though, that could be the case where not that it's a good movie, but you watch Morbius and that's a movie where you go, oh, this was chopped up big time. Maybe we get that feel right come November. It's like, yeah, they chopped it up, but it doesn't flow and it doesn't feel right, and then it's gonna get negative reviews. And who knows? Maybe this movie's just a mess. I'm not saying it is, but maybe it is, and they're like, oh, let's get rid of this. Let's just short and sweet. I'm not saying that. I have hope, but like that happens a lot of times with movies, right? That's happened with Suicide Squad. Like, let's cut this. That happened with Justice League, So
I really hope it doesn't feel like it's just been like a cut. Like you can feel we're going somewhere, and then it's just cut for the sake of avoiding a terrible scene.
I'm picturing a scene where Miss Marvel's like, "Oh, let's go to this planet now," and then it's like, well, that was fun. On to the next one. Like
really bad chop.
They still like reference it, but then we just don't see it.
Or what if they literally just make it like a montage? Like instead of a musical number, it's just they go to that planet and they make that scene like into like a 30-second, 45-minute thing, and like don't say it's like, oh, that was fun, and then they move on. It's like,
right. Yeah.
I know, but some say you don't want to spread too much butter over not enough bread, and some people say a wizard is never late. We're joined by Taylor Field, who said 10 minutes with a clean 17 minutes actually being the stock time. So I'm glad I started the cast.
I'm glad you did too, because I was going through the notes making sure, okay, I was in it, and then I saw that the trailers, like, oh, I didn't watch these trailers. Like, I got to watch these before I come into the cast. And I thought, you know what? I had a moment of hesitation where I thought maybe I shouldn't go into the cast. Maybe I should let the guys go with their steam. Then I thought, you know what?
Yeah. Okay, see ya. So it was great for Taylor.
Were you listening to us live?
No. I went to the notes and I immediately went into the trailers to get caught up.
No, maybe
so
it's an easy joke to me, but I did make that Wizards Never Late joke, and then you put that as your nickname. So
Did you really?
That's
Oh, hot
pretty
damn.
cool. We're on the same wavelength.
I'm glad you showed up.
After 8 years of doing this,
I'm glad Gandalf arrived to Helm's
And
Deep.
Just to that last
It's like
point.
maybe they don't need me. Maybe I won't go.
Yeah, we need you, Gandalf.
That last point is, as I was saying, he doesn't think the whole planet's cut, but parts of it, so maybe a song or something. Yeah, I can see that. And maybe even if it's a big musical number. But Taylor, what do you feel about, you missed it, Superman Mike asked a question of, do you think there's like a golden runtime for superhero movies? We're kind of debating like movies under 2 hours, but like we talked about, you and I love Incredible Hulk. We love that. There's Deadpool. There's Into the Spider-Verse. So there's great examples
Two
of
great
under 2
movies
hours.
this year too that came out. An hour 39 for TMNT and an hour 32
Okay, yeah.
for Super Mario. So although there is some things that I wanted to be included in Super Mario.
One great
I think
movie.
it's a great movie. I think it's a great movie. There's issues with it, but it's great. That's not the topic of debate though right now.
It's a nice, colorful movie. That's about it, Taylor Field, where do you stand on this? But as of right now, if these rumors are true, it's 137 with credits. So be clocking around an hour and a half, but easily by far because I think the shortest MCU film was what you're saying, like
Incredible
155. It was still
152 for Hulk,
152,
and,
yeah.
and Thor. I think we're tied on that number.
So this is shaving like a good 20
Thor
minutes
2.
off of that.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I feel like that's definitely the result of things being cut, as you guys were talking about. So, what was cut? I guess we'll have to wait and see when we watch the movie and get those deleted scenes from that
27-minute
Steelbook.
musical
But,
planets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That is a big number. That is like, if I was in the studio, I'd be like 27 minutes, eh?
That's like, yeah, it's some
This better
Pink
play
Floyd
well.
bullshit going on there.
It's one song. It's not even multiple songs. Just one song, and like the movie just bombs.
Odyssey. Yeah.
Yeah.
with Hulk being, in my opinion, I love that movie. I think it's a great film, and that being the shortest one in the MCU, I think it does a great job. So I don't have a
And you
negative.
love Thor: Dark World as well. That's another one.
Well, Thor: Dark World. Where is that in terms of length? That's much.
It's like
longer
tied
than
with
that.
Incredible Hulk, pretty much.
Is
in
it
the ballpark.
really?
It is.
Yeah.
They're both 152.
Interesting. Okay. Then, fuck, it's anyone's game now, 50-50. Shit. This could go either way.
Such revisionist history I feel like you have with Thor: Dark World. At one point you like love this thing in the top, and now whenever we do ranking, it's pretty low. You don't talk about it that much. Now you're saying it's a 50-50. Like,
Well,
what
with
happened?
Incredible Hulk, because you got Incredible Hulk, which is great, and you have the exact same time, and you have Thor: Dark World, which is obviously not that great. So it's 50-50 in terms of like.
You just totally ignored what he said.
yeah, that's fine. Taste change. It's all good.
To have a film go lower than that, I'm not going to stand on one side or the other and say it's going to be like bad or it's going to be good. I need to watch it and see how they handle that time. You mentioned Mario and Ninja Turtles, Kirkland, so I think that those are great examples too of what you can do with the amount of time you're given. And you mentioned it earlier, Dylan, like those longer MCU films, some of them they drag on, some of them really don't hit home, and that can be problematic for the film and the narrative as well. So you have to find that happy medium between the two. And sorry, Superbad Mike's question was like, what is that like gold standard of
Is
length?
there a golden run time for a superhero film? Yeah.
Oh, I'd probably say your generic average superhero film, I think it should clock in under 2 hours. I think if you're going to be doing that culmination, like Avengers, Justice League, something like that, I think you need to at least go over 2.5. So,
Yeah, I agree mostly with that sentiment. I think it all depends because, like, it's the same thing with the Batman, and it all depends on tone, right? Same thing with Lord of the Rings. Those were 2 hour, like 2.5 hours, but some of those are 3 hours, nearly 4 hour movies. I can watch those no problem, right? If I'm loving all the content, I can watch a 5 hour cut of this. But if it's not, even some 2 hour movies, I feel like I feel like we didn't we just review something recently, Taylor? What I can't remember what review we did, and
Blue
some
Beetle.
no, it wasn't Blue
Demeter?
Beetle. No, we didn't get to see Demeter. There's something we did recently. I thought that was 2 hours, but it felt like 3.5, and it was a long time. But
Yikes.
did we see it together?
I think so. I thought it was a review. Maybe that's how badly it stuck with me that I can feel the pain, but I can't remember the name of the movie. So I'll have to look into it. So and then the follow up was like, is there golden runtime for like a blockbuster? I think blockbusters to me are usually at least 2 hours, but it again depends what type of blockbuster, right? Because you got Avatar, that's 3 hours plus, and that's a blockbuster technically, right? So again, I think it all depends on the scope. Even Lord of the Rings, I would count near the end as a blockbuster. Star Wars, those are your 2.5. So I think it all depends on the franchise because there's certain movies that are 2 hours that probably did very well that I don't know if you could throw another hour on there and if it'd just be diminishing returns, right? So I think it's a boring answer, but it just kind of depends what's on the table there. I think especially to a sequels that throws in some different stuff because those probably have to be in longer, but all depends how many characters, sequels, franchises, etc. So boring answer, but that's what I think I am. Where just depends on the film or situation.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Yeah. Let's take our first ad break, and then we'll get into some other Marvel news. We'll be right back. And we are back. So I forgot to pull up the roster, so we'll do that. So we're going to talk about a little She-Hulk news. So there's two things that were brought up. Ahsoka, me and Taylor already kind of talked about that, but one of the scoopers, it's like a C+ tier, said that Ahsoka Season 2 and She-Hulk Season 2 were planned before the strike. So they say that because obviously with the strikes, you never know what can happen. Lots of shows are getting canceled. Kirkland, where are you in the camp of She-Hulk? Like, do you think it's smarter to do a She-Hulk Season 2, or would it be better to put her in a movie? For the next appearance, because obviously she'll be in a movie at some point, but I'm saying the next time you see her, where should she be?
I feel like a movie personally, but like it's close because I did like what like just the different episodes where we were going with that character, and she was just really, really fun week by week. But I feel like she's at that caliber though that like she deserves to be on the big screen soon, and I think it would be just such a big boost to whatever, like whether it's her own film or being part of an ensemble group. I feel like she just brings so much charisma and just like she's a new character. So I that personally I think she's fantastic. I definitely would want to see her on the big screen next, but I feel like there is just a lot of potential with like the just season 2, not necessarily that we had like a cool threat or something that we dealt with. It's just that was a really, really fun show to watch week after week. So I'm kind of split because whether I get another season or another movie, I think it's a win, but I think it's for the overall health of the MCU and my own my own hopes and dreams. I would want to see it on the big screen next.
Mm-hmm. Where are you, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, I'm at a point where I love the character so much that I am a greedy little pig, and I want her in every project of the MCU forevermore. I want a special every month. I want a season perpetually on. I want 4 movies a year.
Jeez Louise.
No, I mean, I really, really want to see the character on the big screen. I want to see her interacting with some of the bigger heroes. I think she would fit in perfectly there, and I desperately want to see that. But at the same time, if I don't see her again until season 2, I still think I would be a bit disappointed. Now maybe a season 2 would be something that sets her up for that a bit more. But I also feel like we're at a point where, with this World War Hulk movie, which I guess is still just kind of waiting in the wings and is perpetually delayed at this point, as everything is, who knows when that's going to be? And maybe something like She-Hulk is, okay, it's a known quantity. We already got people who have done the writing, done directing, so you can get some of those people back, and maybe it's something that can get quicker off the ground. I don't know if it's something that would have a bit of an easier budget, easier pill to swallow in that way, and it would be something they can put out a bit easier. And yeah, maybe even just the looking at the structure of it and how it gave them, what was it, 9 episodes, right? It gave them 9 weeks of content compared to something like a Loki or a WandaVision that's only giving you 6 weeks worth of content. Maybe that's something they factor in on the MCU side. So maybe even if the budget's higher, they can think of it as, well, it's keeping people subscribed to Disney Plus for more weeks consecutively. And I don't know. I would have to assume the numbers were good enough from that show last September to get this kind of talk going on. But yeah, I definitely want to see her in more than just her own TV show. So yeah, I'm hoping that she pops up in a movie before we'd get that season 2, but I'm also absolutely down if we get more of that. So that's where I'm at with that one.
Taylor, where are you with this? Excited for it?
I would be more excited for a feature film than a second season.
So a feature film, just a She-Hulk movie, or her in a film? Just to be
Either or. I mean,
confirming.
just her on the big screen in general, I think, is the direction I would like to see her progress to. Her character just kind of doing a repeat of what we kind of saw in like the first season. Like, I'm not saying that's what they would do, but that kind of isn't what I really want. Is just another season of more lawyer stuff and just kind of like miscellaneous superheroes. I think it was a good, unique setup for one season.
That's what she does. That's her job, you know. Like, that's,
And I think they did it great with
you're
the
in
one
for a rude
season,
awakening in that
but
Daredevil retro.
to
Ah, you
ju-
gotta stop this lawyer stuff. 3 seasons
to just
later.
be throwing in more miscellaneous like Marvel characters, which it's fun to get them, but I'm me as a fan, I guess, and maybe I'm extremely biased when I say this. I like the classic kind of Marvel MCU kind of route where you just have like the couple of heroes tiptoed into like a film or something like that with the action, everything like that. And I guess it's just the way that like I think it was uniquely done in that season 1, but to see more of that in such a high degree, like sprinkle it in by all means, you can do that. But if it's the main theme and you have every episode is a new case or something like that, like I'm gonna watch it absolutely, but it's not gonna be necessarily my main cup of tea. I'd like to see her explore more of that dynamic as being She-Hulk and being more in the superhero element than the court fighting aspect, because I think there's a little bit more we could see there between, at least when Bruce Banner was Hulk and him trying to go through this whole dynamic of Hulk being a separate entity and him being his own persona or individuality, and the two having a clash and then meeting in the middle. I think that there's still a very cool dynamic that could be explored with She-Hulk on her being more that superhero role. And I feel like we didn't really get to see her be that a lot necessarily. And again, that's part of the story of season 1. They wanted to pull that out and not give you the big battle at the end like Secret Invasion did and all that jazz, which is totally justified because season 1 of She-Hulk set us up for that. And they did a great job at undermining the expectation and adding a really fun spin to it. So I appreciate that.
So now you want them to do that, though. You want
Well,
them to do
I
a
don't want the big battle,
thing.
but I want to see She-Hulk actually like, you know, fighting and actually like diving more into that superhero, like the She-Hulk persona, I guess. But I don't know, maybe I just don't know the character enough and I need to be more well versed in her as a character. And if she's all court and no fists, I guess.
Well, I think there's a combination. I think like you have to do the two things at the beginning. You had to introduce her as Bruce's cousin and that connection, and then you had to do, okay, this is what her life is. I think you could get more superhero-esque stuff, but I definitely don't want them to drop that. I think that's some of the funnest things. Now, it doesn't always hit, right? Not every case is good, not every story is good, but I think that differentiates it a little bit. I think it's probably a little cheaper, too, that you're already CGIing She-Hulk all the time, and if she's fighting something else, it's probably a bit harder. And I guess it's just a question. This is where I always come back to it. I'd love to know what the roster of the Avengers are, because like not every character, I guess, has to be an Avenger, right? And I think that was the thought early on, that she might become one. But I think you can have, like, you look at Infinity War and Endgame, there's lots of characters in there that aren't Avengers, and it works well, and they just kind of pop up in their Avenger for that Avenger, but then they move away. I kind of hope that's what She-Hulk is, that she's almost like Guardians, where she's kind of off to the side for the most part, because I know there was rumors even that she was in Brave New World, and I'm fine if she pops up as a lawyer, maybe there's a quick fight scene or something, but I just don't know how she's gonna, and I don't know if I want her to fit in that world yet, other than that I like Tatiana in the role. So I know, like, the character interaction stuff, that'll be good. So that's where I'm torn. So, and if you look at the Avengers, you could argue, oh, this character maybe shouldn't be there, they shouldn't be there, but you like them because of the interaction. So I think season 2 could be a bit more of a mix of that. I hope they kind of, you know, not that it should be, I guess, like what Dylan was talking about, I really want to know what the status is of World War Hulk or like any of that stuff, because I do want Hulk's son to kind of be a bit more talked about and realized, but I don't know if I need that in her show. If he could get his own project, great. So of
Well,
course,
do you think like Bruce's will be like, sorry, cousin, you know, you're not able to join the Avengers. I got my son here.
Yeah. He's the new Hulk of the crew.
I just don't like, there was, and maybe that happens in season 2, the Jessica that they gave us, or sorry, the Jennifer they gave us, didn't look like she had any inclination to join to be a full-time superhero, right? So that's where I don't want the risk to happen, like you said, I don't want an ending to be her versus big guy. So I want it to be something else. I'm not saying you got to just copy and do that again, but I think they do got to be creative. Luckily, She-Hulk was a creative show, and I definitely want more. I wouldn't be opposed if she's in a movie. I just need to see how it is used, but we already got so many moving parts. For me, it is kind of fine if she's like a lawyer on the side for a while and maybe bring her here, bring her in there. And that's about it. So I think I'm more happy about the season 2. I almost want to get her more affiliated with the MCU that way, as far as like when she was like with Wong. Give her some other heroes, give her some less like give her like a Justin Hammer, like kind of what they did here, like, but just more variety there, and of course more Matt. That's what I need. I need the strength of that. I think Matt coming back would be huge. I hope she's in Daredevil. I doubt she is, but I would love it if she was. So I think I'm more on the TV route, and the movie we'll see. I think she has to be in the movies eventually, and they'll do this big crossover and stuff, and we'll see what happens. But maybe she's gonna be kicking Kang's butt in a little bit. So we'll see. Anything else on She-Hulk? There you go. Okay, so Taylor, I'm gonna start with you. So this is all pre-strike, so there's 2 parts. This is Midnight Sun stuff. So there was plans for a lot of these characters on this roster to get kind of the Marvel specials. Right now, there's 2 currently in works. There is the Agatha one, where it's like about witches, and then I think there's there's one more that's kind of rumored. But a lot of these, there was rumors of like an Elsa Bloodstone one and like a Man-Thing one. A lot of those sounds like they could be shelved or kind of in limbo because of the strike, and they might kind of stop, I think, some of those streaming content ones. So I think those might be kind of gone to the wayside. There was talks of trying to decide what they were doing with Ghost Rider, if they were wanting to do a movie or a series. It sounds like it'd be more the series route, but that sounds like that's even kind of iffy of happening. And then here's your rumored lineup, a potential lineup for Midnight Suns. Now, again, I think the scoop is like a C. They've gotten some things right before, and we don't know, is this the whole roster or is this just all the names they've talked about? But here you go. And the Midnight Suns still right now is the idea is it would be a film, so take that in mind. So it would be Blade, Moon Knight, Scarlet Scarab, obviously the female. I can't remember what was her actual name.
Layla?
Yeah, Layla. Yeah, she got the powers at the end. So Scarlet Scarab, Agatha, Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, Man-Thing, Elsa Bloodstone, Black Knight, and Rhea Vidal, who is rumored that's who Aubrey Plaza is playing in the Agatha show. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 characters rumored. So Tara, how's that list hitting you there?
I just am trying to picture what story narrative they come up with where these characters band together.
A
What
big
event?
monster, probably
A
Lilith.
big monster.
Yeah. You got me a golf for a reason, right?
It's just
So
bonkers.
happy
Blade.
to be here.
She's Blade, man.
Yeah, but I think
Blade,
that's
right?
I think Dracula's going to be in Blade as well, and I think she'll kind of like she'll be the Loki. Loki wasn't Thor, broke off being Avengers. I think that's what they're going to do. I just don't think you cast Mia Goth for one movie unless she's like a Jake Gyllenhaal where she's like, I just want to do this once, and that's about
They
it.
got to bring back what's his name? Dominic Purcell as Dracula from Blade 3.
I just learned today that's Miley Cyrus's stepfather. I didn't know that.
Is it really?
Yeah, I just got married
never
last
thought.
week.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
fun fact: married to Dracula's her stepdad.
He
I
was
don't
in
think
that
they're
Prison
bringing him
Break
back.
show too.
Yeah, he's in the CW DC stuff, but I don't think they're bringing him back as Dracula. Just so you know.
I see. Well, it's just an absolute kerfunkel of a cast like lineup. I can't even picture it. But like,
Is that
I'm
a good word? Kerfunkel, I think, is bad.
Very good,
right?
very good, very good.
Okay.
It's very positive. I'm super on board with it.
So you
Kerfuffle
think-
is bad. Kerfunkel is good.
Kerfunkel.
So take the
Reminds me
Avengers
of
for
my
example. You Kerfunkel Patzer.
Urban Dictionary, kerfunkel, to mess something up.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
You cannot trust the Urban Dictionary though.
Oh yeah, you can trust it more
No,
than the
no.
actual dictionary. If you ask me.
what's
I don't know,
Webster
man.
say? What's Webster say? Kerfunkel.
So Taylor, you think the Avengers, that film had 6 members in it. You think Midnight Suns, which would be their kind of first one, you think 10 characters, 10 roster members would be fine? No kerfunkel business?
I feel like you need a TV show for that over a movie because I feel like you could have your main.
Yeah, but no TV show's getting that
5
budget.
That's true.
10 characters. One of them's a werewolf. One of them's Man-Thing. One of them's Moon Knight.
well
One's
then-
Ghost Rider alone. That fucking fire. And he's just gonna be Johnny
Let me look-
Blaze like
let me look
95%
at
of
it.
the time.
Let me look at it in a different light then, because we have shows introducing these characters already outside of Midnight Suns. So we have the Midnight Suns movie. That's great. We'll put that to the side. We can look at, we got Agatha, we got Aubrey Plaza, we have
All of them would be
Scarab
introduced
Lady,
before this movie,
yeah,
except Ghost Rider,
Wolf.
depending on what happens there. But all of them have been in
that's just
something.
it. That's just it. So I think that actually that's a lot more doable now that I think about in retrospect of them doing a film and having these backstories. So it's not in the grand scheme of things like they'd set up with the Avengers, where you have all the characters in their own movies minus Hawkeye, but it's the same premise and setup where you get to see their basic introductions in their own appearances, wherever that may be in the MCU, scattered as it is, and then that culminates into a feature film. So I don't think 10 is that bad actually when you have them all introduced. So again,
Okay.
This is a big Avengers like movie, so it needs to hit that 2.5 hour mark as far as I'm concerned.
You could do 2.5 hour marks, which is Blade and Moonlight alone. I think. I don't think you need I'll play devil's advocate before these two go. 10 is way too much. You don't do 10. I know you're saying they're all introduced. Fucking if you're saying Black Knight, Kit Harington in Eternals is like his introduction, like that's such a weak introduction. You had majority of the team have solo films in Avengers. You had Black Widow being the supporting character. And Blade, obviously that movie's going to happen. You have Moon Knight, but Scarlet Scarab, Aubrey Plaza's character, Black Knight, Ghost Rider, which his shit could get canceled, and then you're just introducing him here. I think you got to at least eliminate 4 of these. I know Taylor wouldn't like this. I think you got to take out Ghost Rider.
But what's the comparison here to, let's say,
Suicide Squad
Secret
2016?
War, where you have possibly a whole plethora, like a lot of freaking characters.
Those are very established, though. If you're talking Tobey Maguire, who's been in 4 Spider-Man movies, and their main characters, it's different. If imagine if Maria Hill was one of your main Avengers. After all these films, and even Secret Invasion, our deepest project yet, we still know nothing about that character, and now she's gone. So I just feel like some of these, I'm hoping they're more just, hey, these are the 10, let's pick from them, and not this is the 10, because I think that's just way too much. I think you take out Agatha. She's more attached to Wanda stuff. I think I said this on Marvel Alliance. Blade and Moon Knight are your Cap and Tony. Those two got to be. You got Oscar Isaac and hopefully Mahershala Ali. That's like a solid poster leading the team. And the rest of them, I think Scarlet Skip. I think Ghost Rider. You could wait. The same reason I know Taylor, you want this. I also don't think a Ghost Rider show or movie is a great idea yet. I think that's something to do like the Hulk, make him popular again, him bring him back. Because I just don't know if people are dying for that character to come back. His films didn't do that well. I feel make him really popular as a team up character and then do something with them. But
I could agree. I do think though you could do a Ghost Rider show. Give me the Western, Carter Slade, the dynamic, just back in time, like that Western piece would be kind of cool and very unique, I'd say, for something MCU related. But I do think you're right. It's not the time yet for that Ghost Rider solo film or anything like that. I am. You're probably not a minority, but in a lower percentile of this being a possibility of thinking that Nick Cage could ever reprise Ghost Rider in Secret War. I know I see people talking about it, but I
think
feel
he'll
like
come back.
You think he'll come back?
He played Superman in the Flash for 30 seconds. I think he'll be Ghost Rider again. This man will say he won't do things, but I think he's always looking for a paycheck. So Taylor, let's say to Avengers level, I'm gonna do this to all of you guys. Who would you cut out of that? I'm gonna do Blade, Moon Knight, Scarlet Scarab, Agatha, Ghost Rider, Werewolf by Night, Man Thing, Elsa Bloodstone, Black Knight, and Real Vidal.
I'd cut
Aubrey Plaza.
Scarlet Scarab. I'd do Agatha. I'd probably keep Plaza's character. I'm kind of intrigued with that.
You cut Agatha, but you keep the character you know nothing about. Okay.
Yeah.
One more.
We'll know more about Plaza's character after Agatha's show.
Okay. One more.
And I would keep Man Thing. I would keep Werewolf. I'd keep Elsa. I'd probably axe Ghost Rider.
Whoa, I didn't actually think Taylor would be
spicy.
axing him and stuff like that.
Well, no, I just you could bring him on later on, but
He's unknown, right? So it's easier to cut in that way.
Yeah.
For me, it's Aubrey and Agatha. They can be in WandaVision stuff. It's Black Knight because we don't need them there yet. And then for me, it's a toss between Ghost Rider and Scarlet Scarab because I do want to see more of Scarlet Scarab. I liked Lila, but I also think, like I've always said before, Ghost Rider could be what 2012 Hulk was, where he's just fucking badass and he gets all the cool scenes and everyone's like, oh man, he's so. And then that way you don't really need an actor too, like you can, but he can be just Ghost Rider all the time, which I think was I think that's what people want, unless it's Cosmic Ghost Rider, who's Frank Castle. I don't know if people want to see Johnny Blaze. You know, like I don't know if that's a story people are dying to. Like I want an hour and a half of his trials and tribulation. I think people just want like a badass skull demon who rides a bike and kicks ass. Like
and that's what Spirit of Vengeance was. That's another thing too. Why I'm hesitant on Ghost Rider being in a TV show, because I think the Robbie Ghost Rider is interesting.
Robbie Reyes, yeah.
But his aesthetic for being a TV show was just not there. And when you look at, like, okay, I'm not saying that 2005 Ghost Rider with Nick Cage was like perfect CGI either, but it was definitely interesting. But that's Spirit of Vengeance. I watched it, I get goosebumps. Like, I'm ready to just, like, let's fucking go. Holy shit.
So, you know, S-Bubs, this is a shot to the heart. So it'd be like having Kate and Elena level to have them both on the team. I kind of agree, but I need them on the team because their chemistry is just so damn good, you know? So that's where if one of these people, like, let's say if Agatha and Rio just have, like, this stellar chemistry, and they go, okay, maybe I do want to see more of them. So it all depends, right? But Dylan, where are you on all this stuff as far as it looks like a lot of these Marvel presentations, special presentations might be kind of going Ghost Rider's kind of in lieu of what they want to do with them, and then you got this mega lineup for Midnight Suns. Again, we don't know if this is potential names or the names, but...
Yeah, this definitely seems like a short list, and then you carve it down, define what your movie is. I also feel like if you're getting Mahershala Ali, Oscar Isaac, Aubrey Plaza, Catherine, like when you factor in all these people, I feel like, man, even scheduling that would probably be pretty hard to do, and then you factor in all these side characters as well. So
the reason that Ghost Rider. Don't got to schedule him, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Man-Thing is the easiest one of all. You just drop him in there.
He's great to work with, Man-Thing. Everyone loves him. He's not striking anything.
Yeah. Also, a quick plug to Marvel Alliance, because that was a fun episode this week where you guys broke down this list as well with, you and Chris and Brent over there. So that was a good discussion. So everyone should go check that out as well. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot of ways you could make some easy cuts to this list, but ultimately... I think there's a few things I really want to know about first, and I think also Feige and the team would also wait and see on. And one would definitely be Blade. See what happens with Mahershala Ali. See when does that movie end up going ahead, and then from our perspective as the viewer, like what does that movie end up being about? Is Black Knight a character in that movie? Is he a bigger role, or is he a relevant role to some degree? Is he just like a post-credit scene? Is he not in it at all? That would definitely affect how I would see him being included in the roster, because if he's not in that movie at all, I don't know where else he would be in the meantime. I mean, obviously this movie could be 10 years away, and then he could pop up in Eternals 2 and 3 and 4, but what's that, Travis?
So that's why some of these rumors could be pre-strike too, because apparently one of the original scripts did have Black Knight in the Blade movie a lot, but the rumor is the newer versions of that movie, he is not around.
Right.
So
yeah, that's interesting. And I mean, if he's not in it whatsoever, or an inconsequential amount, then that seems like an easy cut. And like, okay, Eternals, maybe wasn't what people wanted. He's not really in Blade. Like maybe that character just kind of goes to the wayside, and who knows what happens to him in the future, which is too bad because you got a great casting for him, and obviously he's a smaller part of the Eternals anyway. But yeah, that would I don't think be the worst loss ever, even though I like Eternals and I'm curious to see what's up with that character. So that's an easy one. I also I loved Werewolf by Night. That was a very fun project. It was something very different and cool. But I still feel like, what's the bridge between that and Elsa Bloodstone meeting Blade and Agatha and Ghost Rider and being brought into this thing, and her being in this huge action fest where you're fighting Dracula and all these ghouls? Like, to me, that seems like two steps past like what is kind of conceivable for that character right now. I think Man-Thing, character-wise, I guess he would be brought in through Werewolf by Night. That would be more his liaison, so to speak. That would be the easiest one to throw in there, as like he's almost kind of cute because of the CGI. So you have this like big funny beast in there, and he's kind of along with the he's like the Chewbacca of that crew.
Sell some toys.
Yeah, exactly.
Some plushes.
So that totally fits there too. But even like Werewolf by Night, I don't know how he fits in there, but man, I still would love to see a scene between like Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night, and those two characters like transforming trying to just communicate, but also battling at the same time. Like that could be fun. So
Well, and I
could see them being brought in somewhere.
And that's also how Moon Knight was introduced. Was he was a Werewolf by Night villain at first, and then he
Right,
became
okay.
his own character and stuff.
That's cool.
See, I was the reverse, where I always thought that's why they had these lower tier characters, so you could have Blade, Mahershala Ali, and maybe one other like Moon Knight, and they're taking most of the budget, and then you have like Elsa, Man Thing, and Werewolf because they're like smaller tier, I'd say, characters and actors, right? So it's like, okay, you have your two big heavies and the rest of the characters, but that's when it's like when you start talking about like Kit Harington and Catherine Hahn, you go, oh, this is like a lot bigger than I was thinking. So I was reversed where I thought, oh, this Elsa character is prime for this because you can easily, I think, get this person and this character, right? They're not doing anything, and then all this other stuff is like, okay, that's even, I guess, Scarlet Scarab I could see you could easily get, but
Yeah, I mean, even on paper too, like the Elsa Bloodstone Blade connection makes a lot of sense. You got some vampires, hunters, but that's not really the Elsa that I got from Werewolf by Night. You know, like that. Like I picture her appearance in Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and that's like, okay, now I can see that connection makes a lot of sense, but not necessarily what we got here. So I feel like I just don't see the connection, and also that takes place at some point way in the past, right? And it's also, I guess it's black and white, but then like color.
well, it
comes into
didn't,
it.
right?
So
I
it's a
thought that
bunch of weird
that was
stuff.
the trick, right? We thought it was in the past, and then the black
Oh,
event
man.
turned to color, right? So I think it still was present day. But you made a good point about Elsa, like she wasn't like exactly the full on monster hunter, but you could do a time jump, right? And some things have changed, or maybe that's
But
where
yeah,
she
the
links up with
TVA
Blade.
agents in there too, right? Like it was all
No,
very
that wasn't
much...
TVA. We thought it was,
wasn't
but it
TVA?
wasn't. No, it wasn't. That was the
Just
theory
some
we
other
had, but it wasn't. It
generic
was
looking
similar,
guards.
yeah.
Oh.
So that's what says
And-
it is in present day. So there you go.
Okay, well, there you go. I was wrong on that. I guess, and then once again, Scarlet Scarab, cool character. I'm interested in. I thought she was good in that show, but I think that's an easy cut if you're looking to make this thing a bit tighter and a bit more coherent. And I also think it's much easier. So if we're looking at this Blade movie, and let's say Black Knight's a big part of it, and we watch that movie, and then Black Knight's not in Midnight Suns, that might be a thing. Like, well, what happened there? Like these characters are so interconnected in some way. But I feel like that's not the case for Moon Knight and Scarlet Scarab. I think you could drop Oscar Isaac and Moon Knight in Midnight Suns, and it wouldn't feel like, oh man, where is Scarlet Scarab? Doesn't really make sense. I think we'd totally be able to get away with that. And obviously he's got all these different personalities too. So we could have the Midnight Suns one just be a totally different version. He doesn't even remember who Lele is or something like that. So obviously there's a bunch of reasons. I feel like also I could see Agatha being in this. I don't see Aubrey Plaza being in it. Now obviously that's based on very little information because I don't know much about her character or what that show looks like even. That's just a hunch. And then once again, Ghost Rider, just because that's a completely unknown variable. Easy cut on there. But yeah, I think to your point, Travis, that what I was thinking about is like, who do you throw on that poster and have Mahershala Ali and Oscar Isaac up there as your Tony and Cap faces? Yeah. It makes sense. I also think it's a bit weird, like, because Moon Knight, you kind of like you want Moon Knight the character in his weird looking garb, but you want Oscar Isaac there. So I don't know how they do that. It might be kind of weird, but they'd probably just put Oscar Isaac on there anyway. But I think those two leading it, so to speak, or at least on the marketing side leading it, I think would make a lot of sense.
Well, it's kind of funny too. I don't know if this is what's changed with the MCU over time because the movie did so well, but I feel like early rumors, or we just all kind of pegged that Doctor Strange would be a part of this.
I was going to bring him up too. Yeah, that's disappointing to me that if this is like some weird short list, if it is that at all, it's disappointing to me that his name and like, Cleo's jumping around, right? Or Cleo, what's her name?
Cleo, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Clea,
disappointing.
not Cleo.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
It's disappointing to me that he's not even on this list, even if this list is meaningless, but still disappointing.
I think that's because Multiverse of Madness did so well, and now he's an Avenger. I think it's one of these things that they want him to be like the Midnight Suns, but they're like, you're too like. Because if you look at it, take out Spider-Man, it's the biggest film of the MCU since Endgame, right? That's the thing where it's crazy.
Is that not even like? Yeah, that seems like really good incentive to put him in this because like this, also Midnight Suns in general with this whole roster. Seems like a huge risk to me, right? And obviously you have some big actors in there.
Yeah.
But like this is a lot of stuff that's like, okay, mostly been on Disney Plus. The numbers not necessarily been there. Like I don't know how successful Werewolf by Night is, but
yeah.
I feel like you want someone like a Doctor Strange on a cover of that, and you want him to be all over the marketing of it, because then that grabs those people who are maybe a little checked out of the MCU and they're like, oh, I love Benedict, I love those movies, I love him in Avengers, love him in Spider-Man, whatever it is. That seems like a no-brainer, but yeah, it's weird.
Because I always thought it'd be him, and I thought Scarlet would get on there, but I think they're both destined for other things. And Espos is right. If Raimi wants to do another Doctor Strange sequel, they're instantly taking him out of Midnight Suns. I think he's also, even if Raimi doesn't do it, I think Doctor Strange 3, and that's the other thing, maybe too, where they wanted to do, maybe they're trying to eat their cake and have it too, where we didn't hear like a 3 announced, but there's been heavy rumors that they're working on it before the strike. So maybe that's the idea of like, well, we can make a Doctor Strange solo movie, and then we can do a other team movie. But they did that with Iron Man a lot, right? They did Avengers, and then right after Avengers was Iron Man 3. So I don't know. It's interesting, but like I'll ask this because you said that, and then I'll go to Kirkland in a second. On pay, like we have no crystal ball. You don't get to see a team. But let's say it's relatively something of this team. What do you think is more successful, this or Thunderbolts? Because I think Thunderbolts is another situation where you got a bunch of people around, but ragtag, think of like Red Guardian, Ghost, like I feel like someone else. Was Justin Hammer confirmed or no? No, he hasn't been confirmed. What else? Who else was on Thunderbolts? U.S. Agent. Like they're all,
Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Task. They got Taskmaster. Like they got some shit characters here. I'm not gonna.
I guess the question of success comes down to a lot of factors, and one thing is I feel like Thunderbolts would have a way smaller budget, and so maybe it would be good, even if it makes less money. Maybe the budget is way smaller that they can get they can have more of a profit on it potentially. Whereas this it seems expensive with the names and the kind of effects that you got going on here. And if it is 10 people, like that's more than Thunderbolts and whatnot. So and there is some big names, of course, on Thunderbolts, but I imagine Oscar Isaac has a bigger price tag than anyone on Thunderbolts. And
other than Pew, I think him and Pew are pretty.
Higher,
they're probably pretty comparable. I think now because I
man climbed up the ladder pretty quick there.
Yeah, because I think the rumor was that she got a pretty good pay, because Marvel doesn't really do big contracts anymore, so it's a good thing and bad thing, because it's a good thing for the actors that they're not contractually like stuck, but at the same time for MCU it's kind of bad for them money wise. Doesn't matter because you don't have that so it's always just good for the actors, but at the same time they don't know when they're coming back, so it's not like a guaranteed gig. But yeah, I think Pew just because she's all over is bigger than both Ali and Isaac. I really do. I think she's having those moments. Oppenheimer, she's in it for a small bit, but she's the face of all this makeup and dressing and all. Like I feel like she's gonna be in Dune whenever that comes out.
Right.
I think there's something else going on. So yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Kirkland, we talked a lot there. What do you think?
Sure did.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just been so distant from like when I've actually interacted with even the characters that I've already seen on this list that you've been mentioning, that I like to Dylan was bringing up. I feel like I need something of a bridge to bring me to like all of this collab, because I don't know who to cut. I don't know who to keep, because I don't really know how they would interact like amongst themselves or just have that charisma on screen. Yeah, no, exactly. Like I see the list, and there's definitely exciting prospects. If I could just have infinite budget for this, I would want to see everyone on there. Like give me the 10-man squad.
Would you though? Would you want to see everyone on there?
I don't really know. Like maybe there's someone that I would cut that would actually be like very just gold charisma with some of the other members on there. It is just tough for me to kind of predict that, because I don't have that crystal ball in front of me. I feel like there is reasons on like why it'd be easier to cut certain individuals. Like Dylan, you brought up how easy it would be to just cut Ghost Rider, because there's no evidence that Ghost Rider is even in the MCU so far. So like that is an easy one to axe for sure. But for me, I would love to see him. Basically, the biggest thing on that poster for Midnight Suns. I just feel like in my own little mind, he's just such a staple to me for Midnight Suns. Maybe that's just speaking to how little experience I do have with them, like throughout the comics or whatnot. But I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of just exciting prospects on that list, but I don't feel like I have enough skin in the game to to say who I would cut or keep. And even if like 10 is too few of a number, like I don't know, maybe that is like a really good number to actually work with. The issue there is once you start looking at who is in this film, and I would imagine that budget just gets really intense. So
Perfect.
Might go crazy.
It's getting intense. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with all these. Obviously, strike will that's going to happen too. It's just other projects will be cut and stuff. So we'll see what happens. See, again, who knows if Ali's even playing Blade at that point when we get to it, right? There's a lot of questions to be had.
When was that first announced that we were getting Ali?
2019. Yep.
Okay, it's not as far as I thought it was.
That's still 4 years, man.
I know,
4 years,
but
and the guy's just done a voice.
It felt like an Elder Scrolls 6 announcement. It's just like, okay, that was like decades.
It's gonna
ago
be
now,
by
feels.
time we're gonna. That was 2016, so it's only 3 years apart. It's still 3 years a lot, but who knows? You might get Elder Scrolls 6 before Blade. That's how bad this is going. Jeez,
That would be fucking insane. That's oh my god.
And I hope they make sure Ali's in Elder Scrolls 6 too, just like to
On the
twist the knife a
poster.
little bit. Yeah.
Oh
Playing
my
a vampire hunter, Dade.
That would
Yeah.
be sick.
The at-home brand. But all right, let's take an ad break, and then we're gonna be back with some nice trailers. We'll be right back. And we're back. So I usually throw it to the wolves, but I'm gonna start because I want to talk because it's just been so long. I feel like Michael Fassbender. We can't. Came to GeekVerse at that time, my favorite actor. Still, I kind of got a top echelon of people, but I would always say he's the best actor going around. Then I feel like something happened when GeekVerse started. That's when he started being in a lot of projects that weren't the greatest. He was in the X-Men movies that weren't the greatest. Like we missed that era of the GOAT Fassbender, right? Who was like easily would always be the best. And maybe it's, projects he picked, maybe it's the script, whatever it may be, but he hasn't been around for a while. He had his child. He did a couple films in the past, not like past few years, not really any. He's been doing fucking like race car driving. Maybe you saw him on the F1 or whatever you watched there, Kirkland. I'm not sure.
It's F1. F1, you got it.
Is F1 cool? So he is back this October, and aka Netflix is going to be November. But this October, he's back with David Fincher, the great director of Fight Club and Seven and Social Network and Gone Girl and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and Mank, which. But that's and fucking Mindhunter, my god, all this good stuff. Not much is known. It looks like it's kind of a classic. Like the synopsis is something I'd have to read. It feels like it's a very classic like organization turns on him. I'll get the synopsis, but he's hunting them down, whatever it may be. But for me, Fincher's in my top 5. Fight Club's been in my top 3. Like I love David Fincher's so many movies, and Fassbender. I've just been waiting for the comeback. I've been waiting for him to just be in a great project where whether it's Golden Geeks or something we can. And I guess we nominated Golden Geeks a few times, but I just mean like I feel like it's just been so long. Yeah, don't forget he got a nomination for Alien Prometheus.
Don't remind me.
And he got for Apocalypse. He's a couple nominated, but like I'm just ready for that guy to come back and like man, he is one of the greats. I'm ready for his name to be associated with quality again. And everything from this trailer looked great. I just like there's not much story to it, but just I think Fincher and team creates a lot of interesting visuals and has a very color type of tone like Girl Dragon Tattoo or Fight Club, where it's a bit more greeny, a bit more that kind of like sewer green, like in a good way though. It looks like dirty, but all the shots look clean. So I cannot wait for this movie. I think Fassbender looks like he's playing a nice cold, cool, killer. I don't know what's going to be there for him as far as dialogue. It looks like it might be a character that's a little less, but this is just top 5, top 3 like anticipated movies for me. I'm very excited. Usually I don't see Netflix movies in the theaters, but this one I will go to just because I'm very curious, unless reviews are just horse shit. But they're putting in theaters because they believe it has Oscar potential. So yeah, I'm very, very looking excited to this. So yeah, The Killer.
I'll jump in on this. Sorry, Kirkland. I'm gonna cut.
No,
you
you
off.
go. You go.
Yeah, this is an interesting trailer because it had very much a slow burn for me. Where even going into this, I'm like, why is this movie's name so generic and forgettable? And then like I'm 30 seconds a minute into the trailer, I'm like, this movie looks very generic. Like I'm not into it. But then we start to get to the point where he's kind of like unraveling a bit, and there's kind of multiple lines of dialogue overlapping, and it seems like he has very much this ritual or I don't know, these serious steps that he's doing when he's taking his job, and it seems like those things are starting to get overlapped. He's unraveling a bit. And that, to me, is a really effective trailer because I feel like we're going to get that in the movie, but it's not going to be in that same way where dialogue is overlapping. It's just this trailer is like a condensed version of here's kind of how the feeling is going to go and how this movie is going to progress. And that got me excited. And obviously it comes from a great director, and I'm in your camp there, Travis. I'm very excited to see Fassbender back on the big screen. So yeah, I am excited for this as well. Don't know if it's a theater watch for me, but I thought this trailer was to me very effective if this movie's doing what I expect it is at this point. So excited for it. And I also like the Fassbenders. I feel like he's doing a little goofiness in here, a little quirkiness to his character, like just a slight touch that I'm liking. That takes away a little bit of the serious tone, but not enough to, I don't know, take you out of the immersion of the thrillerness of it. So yeah, there's a lot in here, a lot of question marks that I'm curious to get answered.
And then two things. One, if you haven't seen the poster, Taylor, you should look up the poster for The Killer because you'll cream your jeans, and it's fucking real good. But the synopsis is: after a fatal near miss, an assassin battles his employers and himself on an international manhunt he insists isn't personal. So it sounds like he's on a mission, something goes awry. That's a very classic setup, but I think the good thing is when you know it's that type, if it wasn't that type of director, and it's just Fassbender being a sass, but okay, I'm excited to see Fassbender being a sass, but when you know it's a director with that caliber, you go, okay, there's probably more to it, and this is just a way to hide some of that. But Ted, did you find that poster? That's like a painting. He's not even listening.
I found this one that I think is it.
He's playing Diablo.
Travis,
Is that it?
Taylor is very unimpressed by this trailer.
No, not that
By the
one.
poster.
No, it's that.
Yeah,
Go
it's
down
garbage.
one more.
There's
one more.
this one
that
too.
One.
Is this the one you're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about?
There's
Okay.
yeah, that one. That's in a world where we get so many shit movie posters where it's a floating head or it would just be a picture of a gun that says The Killer. I fucking love that. That looks
Give me
great.
Beau is Afraid vibes for some reason.
Oh, let's hope it's like that. Some things good, some things no. But Taylor, you approve of this poster?
I approve it. It's very different. It's not like
Yes.
yellow on one side and blue on the other with like our characters angled, the classic.
Yes, right. Yeah, the Ant-Man Quantumania one, or like the Aladdin Stars Force Awakens.
Aladdin.
Yeah, the blue
exactly.
and orange. Yeah, yeah. Taylor, what do you feel about this trailer?
Well, I'm kind of on board with what you said, Dylan. I felt like at the start I wasn't really there. It was feeling generic. It was just kind of like going through the motions and stuff. But the point where it starts to highlight is exactly as you said it, when everything is overlapping and it seems like things are kind of going a little bit under janky, I guess, for our character.
Under
I guess.
janky. I
Under
hate when things
janky.
go under janky.
Yeah.
North of janky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets kerfunkled.
I didn't get the sense that he was a little kind of like not like a klutz or anything like that. I definitely felt
Dylan
like
didn't say klutz. Klutz and goofy
no,
are
klutz
two
is my
different
word.
things.
Klutz is my word.
Dylan's
You're-
an idiot.
But like
You're-
goofiness, right? That's what you're implying. There's a little bit
Yeah,
kind of like a
but
goofy
you can be
factor.
goofy and not a klutz, though. Those are two different things.
A klutz is like you drop things and trip on
Like
That
here-
sounds very
curves
goofy
and
though to
stuff.
me.
no. Like in my opinion,
There's
if
a Venn
you're-
diagramness to it, but I think
And I think if you are an assassin, being a klutz is one thing that cannot be in your repertoire. You
But like I don't think he's like Bullet Train Brad Pitt though, or anything.
no,
like
that would be that's a klutz or bad luck. Yeah, I don't think it's that, but I think there's something a little off to like just that moment when he has the phone and he drops it and he just like stomps on it. It's not like cool or badass at all. It's just like it's just like odd the way he does it, So there's
Yeah.
something to him, but like there should be something odd with the person killing these people. So I
There
don't
won't
think
be
it's a
no
klutz.
suitcase scene where he's like, "Oh, what's he say?"
Oh, what does Brad Pitt say? Oh man.
Don't want to be
Accent.
greedy. Don't want to be greedy now.
Oh yeah, don't want to be greening out. God damn.
Love that movie.
But I hope the killer and Bumblebee meet together, or what did they call him? Was it
Ladybug.
Ladybug? Yeah. Next movie.
That aside, though, I think it's going to be interesting, and I'm happy to see Netflix put this out onto the big screen like they did with Glass Onion. I think it's cool that they're going to be doing something like that and keep sticking with it, because, like you said, it shows that they have faith that this movie's going to do good, and just to see what the end result is.
That's not why they're doing it, though. They're doing it so it can qualify for Oscars. That's the only reason. Because so it got confirmed today. As of right now, it looks like Rebel Moon is not, Zack Snyder's movie is not going to get a theatrical release. And that, I think, means that they don't think it has any chance for any Oscar stuff. So that's where you got Knives Out. It seems like the movies, they did like Red Notice and The Gray Man, but I guess it seems like their formula now is only releasing the high caliber Oscar stuff that they think could have a chance. Because with Oscars, you have to run for a certain amount of time in theaters in a certain amount of cities.
They thought Red Notice would hit an
No.
Oscar?
I think that was in the past. I
Rock.
think now
Okay. Fuck.
The Rock did, yeah, for sure. He was pushing real hard. No, I think they tried it, Red Notice and Gray Man, and probably saw that people aren't too interested. So these are more just for like a formality, because people forget. But Knives Out was nominated, like the first one was nominated for an Oscar. So it's this idea of, well, let's do that. So I think that it's sure they have faith, but it's more so they just are trying to hit a certain number to qualify.
Okay.
So yeah, no Rebel Moon in theaters. Kirkland. You dying to see The Killer?
I feel like I didn't get a whole lot from the trailer, but it kind of fits into a category of a movie that I already would have liked, like take the director out of it, take the star Michael Fassbender out of it. I feel like it fits that almost Bourne series type,
Hitman 47.
Yeah, exactly. Well, not the movies Hitman 47, but that category of
he's a little clumsy there.
He's a little bit of a klutz, that guy. But so I feel like, although I didn't get a whole lot from the trailer, having Michael Fassbender do like the American accent, I really just did not like it at all. He reminded me of like a very generic actor that I've seen in these types of roles before. Now I don't want to like shoot down what he's gonna be because I haven't seen the film yet or not, but I just prefer his I don't even know what his natural accent is, but like his Magneto type accent that he's got in those movies.
I'd have to hear it again, but I don't think he has an accent, Michael Fassbender. Like I don't think
sounded
he's,
like from
he's
like
not foreign
the,
or anything.
in this movie.
No, I mean in real life. Like I don't think all his other roles like those.
I just feel like it was something different. Like he's trying to be, I don't know, like a cold killer in his accent, and just kind of, I don't know, sent me the wrong way, I guess. But overall, for the trailer, I don't know. It's nothing that really pushed the needle to the extreme to the extreme side for me, one way or the other. It just kind of was all right. But I'm hoping it's a nice sleeper pick, because I don't know. Just something from it doesn't tell me special movie. What do you hear?
If you look in the Discord, SBubs did put that they did submit Red Notice to. Okay, I see what you mean. He has like.
What are you listening to? The trailer or
the trailer? Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He know what he sounds like, which might be like a fit with him being like robotic. I feel like he's not David. He sounds a lot like Ryan Gosling in Blade Runner 2049 when he has to do like cells interlink. Like I see the color red, cells interlink. Like he's so I wonder if that's something where if he's looking himself in the mirror and he's giving this prep talk. But I also think that I don't think Fassbender is actually going to talk a lot in this movie. That's my theory. So maybe he just gave him some weird voice to stand out. But that's fair. I'll give it to you, because at first I didn't notice it. But yeah, I think like the Magneto, like his Magneto voice is his real voice. That's like what is like like everything else.
He is Magneto.
That's how he introduced himself. Michael Fassbender Magneto. Yeah, for the perfection. But yeah, so Red Notice, I guess they tried for some Oscars. So there you go. But I don't think
and
Red
The Rock
Notice
was pushing it.
Yeah, he was a producer. He was listed as a producer there.
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. Kirkland, where do you want to go next? Five Nights at Freddy's, Ferrari, or Saltburn? Damn, not alliteration. So
let's do Ferrari. Yeah, for Ferrari. Ferrari. It's an F1 team. I can bring that in there. Racing cars. I really like this trailer. I feel like it's gonna be probably, schedule permitting, day one for Shay and I. We both really like the Ferrari team in Formula One, and we both really love Adam Driver, so I feel like it's just kind of checks those boxes. And I don't know, I for whatever reason just what was the other movie that he did with Lady Gaga?
House of Gucci?
House of Gucci. That one slipped through my fingers, and no one really told me that I like must see it. It's just like, it was there's some good stuff in there. So I just kind of never got around to seeing it, even though it is still on my list. I do want to watch it, but this one is a lot more in my it checks a lot more of my want list. I guess I could say, for just the actual substance that's on screen. So yeah, I don't know. I'm expecting just some good performances and hopefully some cool engine sounds. I thought the trailer wasn't anything too special. Like it was just all engine sounds. He doesn't really talk at all till the end, but Adam Driver was in it, and he's looking good, and I know the caliber that he can hit. So I am pretty excited for this one, and I don't think Shay's seen the trailer yet. I'm excited to get her thoughts on it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've precisely nothing to say on this. I feel like this movie is not made for me whatsoever. I don't feel like railing on the trailer. I don't think it was a good trailer, but I also just feel like this is not for me whatsoever. So I don't know. It's hard for me to separate those two parts of me. So I'll just pull myself out of this conversation.
For me, this one's tough because so you got Michael Mann, one of the greatest directors of all time. It's just like when I remind myself of what he has done the past few years, it's one of those things that Tarantino says, like, oh, when they get older, not as good. And it's just that thing of, I didn't love Miami Vice. I know that's supposed to be watched recently. I didn't love that. Public Enemies, that was a big I enjoyed it, but it should have been a top tier one. Black Hat, I still never got fully through. And then there's other ones. The last movie I watched of it, which I fucking love, was Collateral. I love Collateral. Collateral is Tom Cruise's best movie. You got a lot of the things like Last of the Mohicans. You got Insider, and then you got one of my all-time favorites, top 10, Heat. I fucking love Heat. So I'm hoping it's very similar to Ridley Scott, where Ridley Scott before The Martian, and I like Prometheus, so I was in that camp. But there's a few movies before that. Everyone's like, oh, Ridley's lost a step. He's not really hesitant. Then he put out The Martian. I was like, oh, man, Ridley Scott, he's the shit. Get him to do whatever, right? So I'm hoping this is that for him, but if it wasn't Michael Mann and it wasn't Adam Driver, for sure I would not be checking this out. I still don't know if this is a day one for me. I love Adam Driver. This will definitely be a day one when it's on VOD, and it's also just I'm not a car guy. I'm the exact opposite of what Kirkland would be, or anybody. Of like, anytime people talk about cars, I tune the fuck out. I walk away. I have no interest whatsoever. And even Driver and House of Gucci is a little bit different because I liked the idea of that. Like, I want to know the story of this family, but also you had Lady Gaga and Al Pacino. And you had, oh God, who else in there? You had some other people. It was just a stacked list of people, right? So it's like, okay, even this movie's not the greatest, I have an ensemble here that I will enjoy. With this, I like Shailene Woodley enough, and I like Penelope Cruz enough, but I think this one for me is more of this is a review one. If I hear people saying, hey, this is a big Oscar contender, you got to see it, I will pony up and go see it day one because of Driver. Because Driver, Fassbender was the greatest actor in the world. Driver's taking that from him. Maybe that's a big battle coming up this October. But so I'm hopeful for Driver. I think he looks good in it. I'm hopeful he can maybe get some sort of Best Actor nom in the future. So this to me is reviews permitting, but I will see it for Oscar season. It's just a question of is it home in theaters, and right now I lean more towards home just because of the content matter. So Tayfield.
Ever since I played Need for Speed Most Wanted, I just became just cars, man, cars. So
Cars, man.
He can't even think straight anymore. It's just cars in there. There's no brain in
What do
there.
you want to name your
There's
daughter?
only
Cars.
Little Hot Wheels rolling around that skull.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah, I just
Rev,
think
rev.
that there
Rev,
every now and
rev, vroom.
again a car movie's gonna just pop up and it just totally takes the cake. And I'm not saying that Need for Speed one with what was the actor from Breaking Bad?
Aaron Paul.
Aaron Paul. I'm not saying like his movie was definitely good, but like a Jason Statham movie like Death Race, for example, that's just so good. Or
Did
what
you see
other
Gran
car
Turismo
movies?
based on a true story?
I haven't seen that yet, but I'm going
See
to
Twisted
because
Metal? The
I drafted
series
it.
based
on
I
the-
have been watching Twisted Metal. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would.
It's all those cars.
It's all those
Vroom.
cars, yeah. But Chi Chi
rev.
Bang Bang, another fantastic car movie. Mad Max Fury Road, good car movie.
I don't
there.
think so. They're showing you stuff. I don't think Ferrari's going to be that type of movie. If I'm being
no.
honest.
Not like a Fast
Death
and
race.
Furious.
He's looking for Death race.
Yeah, I think there will be cars, and I think there'll definitely be some high octane moments and oh, we gotta win this thing or this thing. But I think it's gonna be more about the man. I that's my opinion. I also forgot Patrick Dempsey's in there, who I love, and there's somebody else too that was not listed. But yeah, I feel like it's gonna be more of a biopic.
And I think I've been enjoying those lately.
Okay.
Because you have Tetris
Like which ones?
and you have
Okay,
other thing. What was the other one too? Nike Air, that one too. I enjoyed.
Nike
so
Air.
I'm kind of enjoying the modern day biopic trend, and to kind of have something focusing on Ferrari. I think I'm into that. And I watched House of Gucci for the first time not too long ago actually, and Driver and Gaga, just man, that's got some good shit right there. I'm not saying Gaga's in this movie, but Driver, he just
Surprise cameo.
yeah,
I don't know.
Driver just
It
carries
sounds like You keep talking about other movies instead of this movie, and that's maybe a bad sign.
Yeah, what about this trailer?
You've mentioned 20 other movies. You haven't talked about this one at all.
I am going to see this movie, not in theaters, but on my own time at home.
And it's
So
so
see it at the
confident.
drive-in where you can be behind the wheel.
Cars. Yeah.
Yeah. What about this one? Have you seen Blackberry yet? I've heard that's great. I know.
I haven't actually. I need
You
to. Thank you
fraud.
for reminding me
Watch
on
it.
that.
What did
so
you
this
say,
is-
Dylan?
I said he's a fraud. Come on, you
I'm
gotta-
a fraud. Yeah.
You're a fraud,
So this
Spider-Man.
this isn't like a Ford versus Ferrari type deal. This is just Ferrari just trying to take
This is
off
the
his
prequel.
Ferrari.
prequel.
right?
Yeah.
This is a prequel. All right, cool.
You got to get 2 Ford v Ferrari after you watch this, you know? Yeah. And then the next one, Ford. Starring
Yeah.
Harrison Ford, of course.
And
right?
then
You
the
gotta
fourth
get-
one will be called F2. Just
Fuck,
F2.
yeah.
Yeah.
F squared. Yeah. All right. So Taylor's going to see movies like this movie. So you got that going on. Taylor, I imagine you want to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's next.
Oh, let's do it. I
That's
am
fast.
absolutely jazzed for this film. The new trailer was great, and it just has a certain quality of Willy's Wonderland, just not dialed in as like chaotic and crazy as that. I feel like this has a lot more of a cohesive storyline than Willy's Wonderland has, and I'm just really, really excited for this. Josh Hutcherson, I haven't seen him in anything for a long time. It feels like the last thing I
Disaster Artist, probably.
that Disaster Artist, that's the last thing I remember him in.
Oh, hey,
What
Chris.
are you
Arnold.
doing?
I'm gonna look it up.
Yeah, I'm very curious if he has anything, but I don't think he has.
No, he has. Are you? That was bold. You literally are saying, like,
What
with
else
the
has he
Disaster-
been in? Because I haven't
for-
seen anything advertised.
Dylan's looking up. Before Dylan, you say what else he's been in. Just give me the year of Disaster Artist. Because I want to say how long Taylor assumed this man was not working.
2017. It's
So
gotta be
you
2017,
assume,
right?
You assume this man's not been working for
Well, look
7
at Fassbender.
years?
Fassbender is just doing his own thing too, right?
What?
How long was
I get-
Fassbender to commission?
I've not
He-
heard of a single one of these
2018.
movies that he's been in since Disaster Artist. To be
He was in
fair.
a show that Seth Rogen produced. I know that. But yeah, he's definitely been working. Just not on stuff you've seen, but he's been working.
He has 8 things upcoming. That's a lot for
Shit, he's
IMDb.
making up for those
All
7
Freddy,
years.
Five Nights at Freddy's sequels.
Now there is a rumor going around. Scoopers have been trying to get it confirmed, but multiple ticket selling places have listed this movie at 3 hours. I think there's
Holy fuck.
there's no way this movie's 3 hours, and if it is, it ain't good. I'm telling you, there's no fucking way. But yeah, Taylor, what is this? Is this trailer? This is hitting all the buttons for you, hey?
It's hitting all the buttons for me. I'm just excited to see these killing animatronics. It's something that you don't get to see in real life, so let's see it in the big screen. And I think Josh Hutcherson is a great character to cast in this type of role, and just to kind of see more of his story and him as a security guard. I'm not expecting Chris R stuff or Danny stuff like that, but just the predicament.
That'd be great.
Hey, Chris
Yeah,
R.
if
that
he
would be
was
great.
if he was playing Denny as himself in Five Nights at Freddy. Yeah.
I will say the trailer I liked getting, and I'm sure this is going to be probably the start of the film when the people come into the place and vandalize it and the animatronics go crazy. I think that'll be the start. Or maybe since it's 3
Or-
hours long, that's the ending, and it just leaves it open-ended, and these people
Fuck.
just break in. There's no security guard anymore, so they smash it. They take all the coins, which, I mean, I don't know why you're going to smash a pinball machine to get the coins out of there. That's
Isn't it
kinda
all
bold.
fucked up when Josh Hutcherson gets there, though?
That's true.
Well, it didn't seem
can't
like it
remember.
was all fucked up. I guess it was.
was
It's
it
all kind of
was it
run
money
down.
or tokens though?
You just really want those fucking Scandia tokens.
No, I asked you in this. Was it money or tokens when they smashed?
I
it?
thought it was money, because why would he smash it for tokens? Like, what is your
Okay, well then it's
what would
money.
be your
That's-
motivation?
That's why he wants the money.
I guess it's a bunch of quarters, unless it's like
Desperate
tuning
times,
pinball
man.
machines.
Like, what would you
Yeah.
rather do? Smash some pinball machine or go blow some guy at the end of the alley? Like you're gonna do the
Definitely
pinball
blow.
machine.
I mean,
Definitely blow the guy.
I mean, like, well, what's the case you have here?
Who's the
I
guy?
mean,
You know?
yeah.
we'll have to see if they address that in the movie. If it's like, yeah, we can blow that guy, or we can go rob Five Nights at Freddy's. So
The PG-13 movie for sure is out of the
It's
set.
Chris R. Chris R. at the end of the alley.
Where's
It
my
would be
money?
fun.
I'll
I was
get
looking
your
for
money
you.
any way possible. I'll go because maybe everyone else is more positive. It's not that I'm negative on it. I'm just, this is all up my alley, and I've never even played the game, so maybe that's it too. Maybe there's just something about Five Nights at Freddy, but I like the aesthetic of kids and the creepy kid stuff and the animatronic. Like, I like the idea of taking something that's not supposed to be creepy, like a clown or like animatronics that could be creepy, right? A puppet, and having fun with that. There's just something about the teaser trailer was one thing, but I'm like, oh, I bet if I get a trailer, I'll like this a bit more. And I think I did a little bit. I like the idea of, okay, these kids go missing, because I know nothing, but these kids go missing and they're in this doll. I forgot that, what's her name? Bex or Beck.
Beck.
We never got a full ruling on Bex versus Beck, but I'm still just going to call her Bex. Didn't get I forgot she was in here. So like, that's a little bit better, because I liked her and you, so I'm excited to see her in different things. But luckily I will see this day one, because it's on Peacock, so that's an easy sit down. I'll watch it at home. I don't gotta go to the theaters for this. If it was theaters, I would wait. So yeah, there's something that I want to be, and maybe it's just the trailers aren't as great, and maybe they're just kind of like, well, we don't got to worry about the trailers because there's a fan base for it. Love Matthew Lillard, so I know he's probably not in it too much, but I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just nothing that I feel like I should be more excited for this, and I'm not. I just can't place my thumb on why, but I will be watching day one, and I think there will be a review, just because it's same thing will be easy streaming here in Canada. So yeah, I think we will be watching it. We'll be streaming it one way or another. So
Right, not theatrical this one, hey?
no, it's both. You can
Oh,
do
it is,
Peacock
okay.
or theatrical
It's
same
like
day.
the Halloween ends scenario, right? Peacock and theatrical.
Yeah, you remember that one,
I'll
Dylan?
take your word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Why did you throw that at him? You remember Halloween Ends, Dylan?
It was an open.
Oh, that's funny.
And this is a point that I feel like I recognized in my back of my brain, subconsciously, but not really. As because in live action they clean up the animatronics, in the game they feel a bit more rundown and creepy, which that feels legit. That does, and maybe that's it too. That these things don't feel as creepy
they look
as
pretty
they
creepy
could.
to me.
but-
Yeah, I
okay.
They
agree.
were quite creepy.
No,
I'll
S
fuck
Bubs
'em up.
is definitely right with that. I feel like the aesthetic of them being really, they almost feel like polished and wiped down
Yeah.
almost, and that kind of does pull it out for me a little bit, because they are very clean, and I mean, maybe just their off time, no one's there, they're just cleaning each other.
Well, yeah, they're supposed to be
that alley.
decades old, right? And they're just
Yeah.
in that alley, many
That
alleys.
alley. Yeah, so I have no connection to this IP, so if that affects anything. This looked pretty generic to me. I'm not too into it. The timing it's kind of funny, because it's just on the originals. Check out our Patreon and check out originals. We were just talking about Scandia and the animatronics there at our
Yes.
local arcade. So the timing of this is quite funny in that way. The fact that it is streaming day one is inherently a lot more interesting to me. I still don't know if that means I'm going to pick it up. This
Not interesting enough.
This more seems like one where, okay, we're zoning in on Golden Geeks time, and I need to watch it. Then I might check it out. But yeah, it didn't really do it for me, and I feel like there's so many other horror movies I'd rather go check out. And yeah, maybe it's because I have no attachment to this IP in any way, but that's kind of where I'm at. Unfortunately, didn't really do it for me.
I got a pitch for you, Dylan. This is an old GV phrase. Gun to your head, and if you win the lottery, would you see Ferrari or would you see Five Nights at Freddy's?
This.
Well,
easily.
you don't gotta say the lottery. You just say gun to his head. Like what?
But remember,
take-
that was the
I'll
thing.
take the
That was
lottery as well.
both.
You're
I'll take
messing
the
up.
lottery.
You're messing up. It was like if you really didn't want to see something, it was like gun to your head and you win the lottery. Would you see this movie? You said you gave him options.
No, gun to your head, and you
He
win the
said and.
lottery.
I know, but then you said, would you rather see Ferrari or this? We never did. It was like the one thing. But
Oh, I see.
or are you saying he
Okay.
has to see both?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Either way, I will pick this. I will pick this 100 times over Ferrari for sure, just because it seems more fun at least, and I'm sure there's some good juice in there. Where I feel like Ferrari, I just don't know if that have anything for me other than maybe Driver has a good performance in there. That is interesting, but I'm more intrigued by this.
So if you win the
with a
lottery,
gun
gun
to
to
my
your head
and
though, do you see Ferrari though?
Oh man, what kind of gun we talking about?
You'd have to know how long the movie is too, right? Because this Ferrari
Yeah, if
could
it's
be
the
easily.
rumored 7 hours, then I might have to dip out.
No. What is it? This Five Nights at Freddy. That's rumored to be 3 hours.
Oh right. Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
rough.
But
2
Ferrari
times
could
speed,
easily.
though. That's only an hour and a half.
That's true. Yeah, Ferrari could easily be 3 hours. I'm telling you that too. There's a good chance to be a long movie. So, Kirkland.
Yeah, I like this trailer a lot more than, I mean, it's hard to compare it to a teaser, but I just really like this trailer. I feel like I'm a lot more positive on the movie after seeing it. But I don't know. There was something in me that was thinking that this could be pretty bad, but I don't know. I would
Josh,
hope it's
wasn't it?
no, nothing against him. I would. I mean,
Flag.
I'm excited to see like Beck, whatever that actress's
Beck's
name
Beck.
is. Beck. See how she performs in this movie, because I've only seen her in that one project. But I don't know. I think they did. Like I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm assuming that they're kind of following the exact same, at least like lore behind the Five Nights at Freddy thing, and
Yeah.
the fact
F words
that
aren't so easy, are they, huh, motherfucker?
it's difficult.
Guys laughed at me for Ferrari earlier. Can't even say 5. God damn.
It's difficult. I hate the
Look at ya.
gameplay idea that what that game is. It's just jump scares for the sake of jump scares.
yeah.
So I will never play that game. But to at least get what the story is through this movie, I'm at least a lot more interested in that. So I'll probably watch this for sure. And yeah, I hope it's a hidden gem, because it's a very, very popular IP that I'm sure a lot of fans out there that are excited to see this. I'm sure they're hoping that it's good.
So none of you guys have played it before?
No, I was
Negative.
going to mention that. That's
Wow.
crazy. And did you play it before Rod or Not, or did you just play it for Rod?
I played it before Rod or Not, and then for Rod or Not, Ruben played the VR version, and
Yeah.
it is jump scares, but it's such a simple game. Like, it's really, really simple, and it's great how it takes advantage of it. I think it's more not the jump scares aren't really what gets you; it's the stress of the situation that gets you more so.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just find it funny. Like, I'm sure there is, but like we'd have to do like a special on there or something. I feel like that's one of the bigger franchises. The fact that only one out of the 4 of us has played. Like, usually it's at least 2 of us, but the fact that none of us have played that except for Taylor, it's kind of like mind-boggling.
I haven't
for a
really
game
played tons of horror games in my life, so
Yeah.
I guess that factors in there.
That's fair. Finally, we get to Saltburn. My most anticipated, but I want to hear from Kirk and Patzer first. What do you think about Salt? Now, to preferences, I don't think you or Taylor, you haven't seen Promising Young Woman, right?
That's a
That's
mistake.
negative.
That is a big mistake. Yeah,
Go see
gotta
it.
get on that.
Golden Geeks 2023.
I'll clear my
Yeah,
schedule.
we got to run that back. Yeah, we got to like how we rechanged Parasite. We got to rechange that. But what do you think about this? You got Barry Keoghan, our new
Yeah.
Joker. You got Jacob Lordy. You got what's his name? in
Rosamund
Euphoria.
Nate?
Jake.
Nate. You got Nate. Yeah,
Yeah.
Nate Jacobs. Yeah.
Nate Jacobs. Yeah, I was blown away by this trailer. I'd never heard of this before this, and I liked everything that I saw in it. It looked very, very colorful, and just looks like it's going to be a fantastic time. Yeah, Jacob Elordi, that's his name, right?
Jacob Elordi.
Elordi. Jacob Elordi. I had first
With
seen
an
him
F.
because Shay loves those like rom-com Netflix originals, and
Ah.
he's in, I think, Kissing Booth, that series.
Mm.
And so she really likes him, and obviously he was in Euphoria, so we both really liked him there. And I really, really love Barry Keoghan, and everything else what this trailer was, it just looked really, really interesting to me. And yeah, I think there's another one that Shay's gonna be really into, so I think we're both gonna be super motivated to see it right away. It just, yeah, I think it helped that I just never heard of it before, so it was just like, holy crap, what is this? And it just looked fantastic, and yeah, can't wait to check it out.
S-Bub saying I haven't seen Promising Woman. Definitely changed it. I heard mixed things. People love it or hate it. Don't trust people who hate it. There's no I don't know how you could. If you hate that movie,
It's all subjective, Travis.
I don't trust. No, it's a fuck. It's objective that is a fantastic movie. That's if you hate that movie, I can't trust you.
What's the letterbox on that? I'm gonna check that out. I'm curious.
I guarantee you it's 3.8 or higher. That's my prediction on it. I got it at a clean
Objective
5
3.8.
stars. Yeah, objective 3.8. But that's what I'm saying, 3.8 or higher. But Taylor, I'll go to you next.
3.7.
Oh my God! Come
were
on.
off.
Yeah, by 0.1.
But you gave it a
jeez.
5, and Starwing gave it a 5. Who's Starwing again?
No
That's
one
Super Red
we
Mike, I
follow.
think.
Is
Super
it?
Mike?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I gotta follow you. I don't think I have your mic on Letterboxd.
It's
There you go.
confusing when the name is different than the name you're used
It's
to.
true. A lot of names. Yeah. Taylor, I'll throw you next because same thing. You're in this camp if you haven't seen this film. So did this do anything for you? Does it get you interested? I don't know if this is a Taylor one, but I feel like there's certain things we filmed that maybe you'd be like, oh, I might be interested in this venture of 2 guys.
Yeah, I watched the trailer and I thought, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, I was not sure. Like, it's just like, how I took it, the guy expressed interest in the other guy, and then there was a woman in the bedroom in the window, and they're friends. I was like, is this like a Great Gatsby thing, or I just couldn't
think
put
so.
my finger on this at
Town
all.
Mr. Ripley. Like I think what the plot is, Barry Keoghan meets Jacob. He seems all friendly. Come stay here. And as he stays there, more things start to go awry. I don't think it's going to be a horror go awry, but I think it's going to be drugs, drinking, sex, lots of pressure, lots of fights. I think that's what's going to happen is the pressures of college times like 1,000 with some different
Well,
elements.
this is
put in
college. I didn't even get that. Holy shit.
there. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
What do
I
you
just
think
figured
it
he
was?
I thought he was just some rich guy I thought he was in love with this
Whoa.
man who was coming with him. I thought they were actually having an intimate relationship, but then he was sleeping with another woman in the room and the guy was watching it. And yeah, I fucking couldn't put my finger on it.
That's a bold claim for him. Like Promising Woman, best movie of 2029. God damn, that's
10 years
I can't wait for
running.
that remake.
Every year in between.
I agree. It is now. I don't think if we did a reactive poll, I don't know if these guys would
That's
go
amazing.
against Soul because that's what we did. War that was the COVID year, but or no, that wasn't the COVID year. No, it was Promising Young Woman. When the
I thought
fuck
you said
did that come
Solo
out?
for a second. I almost freaked
Yeah.
out. I'm like, what
What
did we
was
do?
that? Yeah.
Wait, was I asleep?
When did Promising Young Woman come out? That was 2020, right? Or was that 2019?
Was it
yeah,
actually
20.
4
okay.
years ago?
Yeah,
3 years
Yeah,
ago,
because
okay.
we talked about it, but those two hadn't seen it. I think we didn't recommend. I can't remember how that went and stuff. Yeah, Soul's a great movie too. But I agree. That's definitely the best movie of 2020 for me, Promising Young Woman and Carey Mulligan. But yeah, I think there also Taylor will be maybe some sexual things happening between the two gentlemen, or maybe some flirtations. I think it's all going to be very head trippy.
Yes.
Barry's definitely into him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
But who knows if it's the other way around or if it's just him using that to leverage
Yeah.
some sort of, you know.
Is this something you want to see, Taylor? Hang on before we're done, because Taylor didn't
Okay,
say,
I
he
thought he
didn't even
was done.
say
My
it.
bad,
Yeah,
my bad.
it's something you want to see.
I mean, I'll probably see Ferrari over this.
Yeah, not enough cars in this.
No, only cars.
What if there's a car in this movie? It goes way
Oh
up.
fuck, I'm
All
there.
right. Yeah, Dylan, you go. Fuck. Get us out of here.
Yeah, I mean, I think we definitely saved the best for last on the trailers here. Honestly, I don't think the trailer necessarily blew me away, but there's enough little tidbits in there, and I think it's for me confirming the cast because I definitely heard of this by name, but I don't think I really knew anything about it. And now I feel like I have a general idea of what's going on, and I like how weird and trippy it's gonna get, and I like this. I like the character that Barry's playing. I think that's gonna be a really fun role, and also Jacob. I think that dynamic is gonna be really fun for me. But then also, yeah, Promising Young Woman, I think is fantastic movie and really different and really powerful and really intense. And so just to see Emerald Fennell's next movie alone is exciting to me, regardless of what this trailer is here or who's in it kind of thing. And the fact that you got a cool, interesting cast of people that I want to see more of. Like most of these people, I've only really seen them in like one or two things. And so I think this will be a really good one. I'm very, very excited for this. This is shot up my list big time now that I've seen the
Nice.
trailer for it. Yeah.
And I always like titles that just stick, like Saltburn. I mean,
It's a
like that's a
great
good
title.
title. Yeah, like you
Yeah.
don't forget it the second you hear it. I love it, and I hope it's this way in the film. I don't know if it is, but even that scene where Barry's knocking on the door and it just is like a film by Emerald Fennell, and it's just like the way it's opening. I love like the score and music. Like right away, this is what I love about this, where it doesn't show much story beats, but I already know from the music, the look, even the fact that it looks, I think someone might correct me, I think the whole movie's gonna be in like a 4x3, like that's the square.
Oh, really?
I think that's what I've heard, or at least scenes, but I think the whole movie's in that. And what I love is whether they film this way or how it's color grade or whatever it's used, there's certain scenes where like the people, the grass, like it just has this like sense of like golden around it. I think that's kind of supposed to be like these people's perfect images and it will like crack away, but they just look almost sometimes like not real. They look like when you get commercials for like model magazines or stuff, when it's like, oh, I drive a Ferrari because it's the man car. Like that's like, it looks fake, but that's why I like that's in a real world, and it's not fake in a way of like a quantum media or bad effects. It just looks like something you can't obtain. And like Taylor talked about Great Gatsby, like that was like, I got lots of those vibes as well. So Looks intense. I'm very excited. I think Galore is going to have a huge year because he has this and he has that Elvis movie coming out. But I'm really curious to see these two dynamics. They're great actors. Like Dylan mentioned, Rosamund Pike's in there too, and she's always brings it. So it's just like, and Carey Mulligan does have a small role in this. They won't reveal what it is, but she does have a small role. So I'm really excited about that, them reteaming. So Promising Young Woman to me was the perfect thing. Like it had great dialogue, a great story, and then it was like artistically very shot well. You know, like there's shots and moments that just stand out, and it's sometimes hard just to do any of those. The fact that she could do all those separately, or all those combined, not separately, is kind of a gift. So I'm looking very forward to this. One's a day one for me, and I who knows, it'll be Golden Geeks or whatnot, but I'm looking very, very forward to this, and I'm just curious. I'm curious, like this relationship's going to have this, I think, very mystery box element to it, and I enjoy that. I think it's also a situation too where don't know if Barry's even going to be a reliable narrator. You know, we don't know what the situation's going to be. So, and same thing with Promising Young Woman. That's why I like that. It's very much the Dexter thing where she's a character, she's doing things. You can agree on a certain point, but then there's certain ways where you go, oh, is this the right thing to do? Obviously, there's some things she's doing that are illegal, but this is definitely a top 3, top 5. I think I put it like a little above The Killer just because the style, to me, I'm very curious to see how it unfolds. It also has a higher risk of maybe not being as good because it could get maybe style or substance, but I have faith at least. But again, it's only her, second film, so we'll see what happens. So, but yeah.
Do we know a release date on this puppy here?
I think it's just the fall. I think it's in November or something. I think it's kind of in that Oscar season where it's like Ferrari, Killer, they're all coming out in fall, so they can start getting those noms. Because she did win an Oscar, remember, for screenwriting for that Promising Young Woman.
Okay,
So
nice.
yeah. So she, I think they're kind of edging for that again. But what are you
Edging for
laughing about
that?
there, Taylor?
Shit, that's like September, bro.
Oh
Always
my God.
cracks me up.
It always cracks you up. That fucking King Kong reaction video, hey?
Always
Fall.
gets me.
Dylan, did you ever see that that might have been before your time. When you were gone for a little bit, there was a I don't know how I brought it. It was a meme. There was someone doing a trailer reaction to Kong versus Godzilla, and the tagline was like "one will fall," and as the guy's watching, it'll be like one, and then it shows scenes it shows scenes, and then it goes fall, and then it shows scenes, and then he goes fall. Shit, that's like September, bro. Like it was only coming out in March, but he thought like it was saying fall, and like I can't do it justice. We'd have to find the actual clip, and maybe we will at some point. But
He's so
they just
serious.
say fall. Shit, that's like September, bro, and it comes up every once in a while. I guess fall. Whenever fall, this season you'll get Taylor laughing a lot. But all right, let's take our final ad break. We'll do our quick little last topic about a draft update, and we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, draft update. So yeah, MCU, nothing to update there. Also, we got any more specials next week. Did anyone? Let me actually do an update there because next week we will be getting an upgrade. I can take a look. Does anyone remember off the top of their head if they drafted Groot?
Oh,
I feel like that's a Dylan.
MCU draft 2023.
someone definitely would have.
I imagine. So let's see here. So Dylan didn't. Kirkland didn't.
I know I didn't.
I have Groot. Oh, look at that. So I'm going to be getting a nice
Nice.
25 points next week because I Am
Maybe
Groot Season 2
post-credit
comes
too.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, post-credit. So look out. We'll do a mini review on that. We're not doing a full-on review. We'll do a review during newscast. But yeah, so that's the only thing that changed, I guess, that I'll be getting 25 points for Groot and then anyone who has Rocket. And luckily, I think the trailers haven't revealed anybody else. No one drafted the Watcher, it looks like, because the Watcher is in I Am Groot, so they would have got 5 points there. But yeah, so you got that. So there you go. That's only my update. Obviously, that'll be bigger in October. That's coming up. And then the superhero draft, that just started in July, and the strike there. This is more for the other one. So Dilmus, do you have, because I haven't got a chance to listen to side quests yet, and you said that the next week you were going to be dropping a game and adding one, or potentially. Did you end up ever doing
Oh
that
my
for your
god, I
list?
totally forgot about that.
And if not, do you have the game to drop here, or still need time to think about it? You got 2 days.
I will decide before next side quest. I'll write
Next
it
side
down so I
quest.
don't
There we
forget.
go. So Dylan's dropping one.
It's
I
at the top of my notes now, and I won't forget.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go video game draft. Right now, I think Kirkland is in the lead, correct? I'm pretty sure.
I think so, because he had Baldur's Gate 3, and that's
Also-
another killer for him.
Is Baldur's Gate just it's just a PC game?
Just
Nope.
for now, they launched
It's
it
on
early.
PlayStation. Or no, sorry, it's
Okay.
pre-order. Yeah, I'll just let Dylan
PlayStation
go.
2. They launched
come
it
on.
early to separate it from Starfield's release date on
Okay.
PC, but I think the PlayStation version is coming next, which should be soon, and then Xbox is supposed to come this year as well.
Okay.
So they're coming down the line, but either way, Kirkland picked the PC version.
Yeah, I just saw some like, oh, the Baldur's Gate Xbox looks like promising. I'm just like, why? Like, why is that not releasing the same time as PlayStation? I guess because Starfield. It's just funny to me that they're just gonna be the last
Well,
year of Baldur's Gate. It's
We
just-
don't really need to get into it, but essentially, what it sounds like what happened is the Xbox Series S, like the weaker power on that, has been giving them a ton of issues that it's just not running the game properly, and so that's a tricky issue of like you can't just release it on the X, you have to release it on the S as well. So they had to like cut features and then they maybe like uncut those features. So it's been kind of a mess. It just sounds like PlayStation 5 having one SKU, which was much easier for them to put it there, which makes sense. You know, you're dealing with just one system instead of two slightly different ones. So that's kind of why that one's quicker, I think.
Can you pull? Do you have that video game list to give up the numbers, Dylan? Because for some reason I don't have it there. And then, yeah, Kirkland, you can pull this up and play this clip for. So Dylan, I'm glad you found it. So.
Lid, I ain't gonna cap, bro.
Can you hear that? Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Fall. It's coming out this fall. That's like September, bro.
And bear in mind, this trailer was in February. So this guy thinks that a trailer in February is all for movies to do.
So good.
Oh man. Okay.
I love that.
Releases next week on PS5. That's great. Yeah, I've never played them, but the hype has made me have it on the radar at least. So, and I've always wanted to fuck a bear, so you never know.
Sometimes you gotta fuck a bear.
Yeah.
I'm still pulling it up here. The draft right now, Kirkland is in the lead with 330 points. That doesn't even. No, this is not updated. I don't have Baldur's Gate in there. He's
Okay.
winning though. Kirkland's
Yeah.
winning.
He's winning.
And then you're
Like to hear
second,
it.
Travis. I think at this point, me and Taylor are pretty close because Pikmin 4 is out now.
And for
I
people
gotta
that didn't
update it,
know,
so I'm not
yeah,
ready,
if you,
my bad.
That's okay. That's okay. We'll get an update next side quest with your new game on there too. And then the other thing is, yeah, and I've officially, for people that don't know, I dropped replace. I replaced replace with Mortal Kombat 1. So that's my only chance to try and get Kirkland. I know it's coming out at least, and I know we'll probably at least get somewhat decent reviews. Baldur's Gate, what did it end up staying at? Like a 90 something, right? Like 93, 94.
I'll
think
check
was
it out, but
pretty
I think it's
high.
higher. I think it was higher than Breath of the Wild. So
Yeah,
or
for
Tears of the
I know
Kingdom,
what-
I mean,
Yeah, so I can't remember, but it was pretty high there.
it's at
So
96 right now.
yeah, so I don't think I'm fucking Redfall, man. Fuck Redfall. I'm just so mad at them. They couldn't at least deliver me a 70 game. Just like even 70 would have got me
They could
like
not.
no, they could not. Just god damn. But so yeah, Kirkland looking like he might get the win there. And then the movie draft, we have lots of updates because Taylor finally had some movies come out. But we will go with let's see here. So I'm in last place with 1.6 billion. I was in second, but Kirkland and Dylan had some movies come out. But yeah, I had Flash come out. That was a bomb. Recently added, I had Mission Impossible at 551. So that didn't do as well as I thought it was gonna. Blue Beetle with only 83 million, and I also had Craven Dead. That is now delayed, so that is off my list. So right now I have Aquaman 2. So I'm hoping that doesn't get delayed. I'm hoping there's some success there. I got the Hunger Games prequel, and I got the Paw Patrol movie. So I got 3 movies left, but I'm sitting at a 1.6 last place. Kirkland is third last with 2.4, so a big leap up there. The only things we added was Spider-Verse got like a little bit of a bump up since we last talked. That's at 686. Kirkland, your newest movie on there was The Meg 2, The Trench, bringing you 354 million. And that's been the only thing released right now. You have Trolls Band Together. That's what you have left. And that's actually all you have left because your number one pick is now dead, delayed. Dune gone to 2024. So your number one pick out of there. So you are at 2.4. I think that's probably where you'll get a little more Trolls. So you'll probably be like a 2.6 or something. I think that's where you're going to finish at. Dylan Muss, is there anything The only thing that really, nothing to add to your list other than Elemental. Elemental, last time I was on here was 190, but now it's 470 or 467. So it had a really good run there. Yeah. So it got you up to 2.5. So just putting you over Kirkland by a 0.1. You still have Next Goal Wins, which has a TBD date. You got Saw 10 and you have the Marvel. So you, like me, have 3 movies as well.
Let's go Marvels. That could be a billion right there.
Could be, not. And then you got Ghostbusters Afterlife 2. That is a dead one that got delayed into next year. So you lost that one. And then you have Taylor in first place with now, though, no movies left. He has no movies left to go for the rest of the year. So he's very top heavy. So we'll see how it goes. But I think he's sitting all right as he is at 4.2 billion. He had Oppenheimer, Barbie, and Mario. Mario 1.3, Barbie 1.3, Oppenheimer 784 million.
Fucked.
And you're lucky because after that, no other movies are above like 200 million except for Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones bombed with 381, and then after that is TMNT of 137, Gran Turismo 56, Haunted Mansion 91, Strays 23, Rhinefeld 26, Insidious Fear the Dark 175. So really, it's just those. Wait,
Haunted Mansion has released at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god!
It bombed big time.
That's insane.
It has like a budget of like 150. You know, it's like gonna probably finish like 100 million or under. But yeah, so really Taylor has no movies left, but he was like risen up by just those 3. Having those 3, yeah, the
That's
3
Strays.
gods.
It's Strays just kind of help a little sprinkle on top.
Travis's mic just got.
I thought he was trying to troll me there for a second.
So did I.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not going to retire. It's a huge lead. I'm not going to retire from the movie draft, but I feel like now if I land this 2-time back-to-back win, I'm just going to play for fun now. I'm going to take it easy. Hopefully someone else can take the mantle from me in the next movie draft.
But you're gonna get 2, 3. It's the same way.
You need to fix your mic, Travis.
It's super quiet.
You sound like you're like 2 rooms away from me right now.
I hear you talking shit out there.
Taylor's so high on his pedestal of success, he can't hear Travis down in the lowly 4th place with his delayed films and bombs.
Next Goal Wins is in November, but that's still like a TBD date. We'll see. That's what's at one point they're talking about delaying it, but we'll see. Yeah,
if you rearrange the letters and Next Goal Wins, you get November, so it makes sense.
Oh yeah, and the character that Emily thought of was Vance Egan instead of Vance Geen. I think she really disliked the name Geen, and I do like Vance Egan better. Remember we were talking about rearranging the Vengeance letters, so Vance Egan's what he's going to be known as from now on. That's a pre-conversation cast, but I'll forget it.
We'll explain that again in a few days.
Yeah, we'll explain that on Starfield for sure. Check out that review. And see, Taylor, no, you know why you're wrong about that is you say you won't want to be for 3. Discord, you can join the Music League. I said that to Emily. I'm like, once I win one, that's it. I'm just going to play for fun. And then fucking Kirkland just had to drop a gift like, I'm coming for you. And that's like, okay, that's it. Now I gotta really try. And now this fucker has like a 25-point lead thanks to Taylor's rules. He has these awful rules going on, but nonetheless, no, you got to bring the heat. None of us want to beat you at like a pity, like, oh, I've selected Strays too. Like, no, you got to bring the heat, you know. So, but that's gonna be next year. Well, that'll happen in January. But yeah, I think you got the win. Because even if I get Aquaman, if that hits $1 billion like the first one, I'm still only I think there's no way any of us could catch you. We're all playing for the other spot. So good on you for getting Mario, Barbie, and Oppenheimer. I thought Barbie and Oppenheimer was risky back to back, but you pulled it off.
I thought so too after you guys told me. Then you all made fun of Strays. I thought, man, I'm fucked. And then sure enough, just people love that Barbenheimer.
Well, if you didn't have one of those 3, yeah, you would have been fucked. Because those other movies, all those movies that we told you not to pick, did bomb. Like Gran Turismo and Strays, and Haunted Mansion. Like maybe not Gran Turismo, that's maybe all right. Like Strays and Haunted Mansion, like even Indiana Jones bombed on you, and you're lucky you got.
I had to make sure you guys didn't have those picks, though. I mean, there would have been some nice cushions for you guys to maybe rise up.
Our cushions are better. Our problems are we don't have the big dogs.
That's fair.
Yeah, Mario, Oppenheimer, Barbie is the king of this box office. At least it didn't end day one, you know, but Kirkland was still disqualified. Kirkland only wins if that person's not guilty. That's what we've decided.
No.
If they're guilty, us 3, the 75%.
We did not establish that.
You
when
didn't.
we made the
You
piece.
didn't. The 3 of us did. 75% here in shares.
The will of
decided.
The
yeah,
taking my fucking trophy. I don't care how dirty it looks.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is our newscast for this week. We will be back next week with another newscast. News permitting. If not, maybe we'll do another thing and do something fun. Who knows? Thank you very much for tuning in, and I promise you, it'll not be boring.